She was the rubber person.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, October 4th, 2020. This is your award-winning Gibbo Nation Media Assassination episode 1283.
This is No Agenda.
45 Savage down on the 33. And broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we all know that oats are good for the gut. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Well, that may be your California thing. We don't eat oats. We leave that for horses here in Texas.
Not for men. They say it'll kill you, but they won't say when.
Hey, man. 45 Savage down with the Rona.
Yeah.
How about that? On a show day, of course, 33 days before the election. Hello. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. You could not have asked for a better plot twist if we had sat down to write it.
Yeah.
In fact, we would have said, nah, you can't.
Corny.
Too corny. We can't do that. No. That can't happen. But how beautiful for the show to see this taking place. Is this the October surprise? Is this the 10 days of darkness which will lead to thousands of sealed indictments? Is the president sick and could he die? I mean, there's so many ways we can look at this.
Or will they kill him?
Or was he infected on purpose?
Well, I think that's a possibility.
Well, there's so much speculation. There is so much. It's fantastic. I love deconstructing media in these days.
Well, I have a prediction right away.
Okay. Do I need the book?
I want to get this out of the way.
Do I need the book or do I not need the book?
I don't care about the book.
Oh, well, I don't like your attitude towards the red book, but okay.
I know you don't. Others don't either. I've gotten this message from others.
Enough about Mimi.
Trump likes to do these big, giant events.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to up the ante on these events. He's going to do more of them than less.
From the hospital?
He's going to do them simultaneously with a big, giant head, a monster screen, at all of them simultaneously. So there'll be like 10 or 20 of them all at once.
The COVID rally.
Yeah. And he'll pack them in.
It'll be like a Max Headroom, like a big totalitarian.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That way they'll get a lot of attention. Oh, Mussolini would have done this if he had video.
That's good. Now, personally, I look at this and I thought, well, if he is the heel in true wrestling form, there's nothing that America loves better than a comeback. It's just a fact of how audiences respond. And look at how his base is energized by him being in the hospital. And by
They're
the way,
all jacked up.
Nicely done with the helicopter and everything. I mean, that's well done. You can't deny it was show all the way. It's just beautiful. But that brings up the other issue. And there's a headline out today that says Trump, the Secret Service has 5 body doubles for Trump. Oh, I didn't see that.
My son brought this up at the dinner table. He said, I swear that the Trump going into that helicopter was not Trump. He didn't have the right gait.
He did. Yeah, he didn't have the. Oh, boy. I, too, noticed that he had his head down, looking down. He did a little perp. That's possible. We haven't seen many Trump impersonators like we used to see Obama.
We haven't. That's true. Obama was pretty, but and the Hillary one with the purse. That was
obvious.
Bad.
That was obvious.
It was like the third stringer. They had to fire her.
Like that one never even got a call back. She was just on reserve.
It's terrible. But the Trump going to the helicopter
that's a good point. Oh. Yeah, you can't make these points, John. When you make these points, there you go. You broke up for a second. You're back.
That's all right. Breaking up.
Nah, don't worry about it. Yeah. So the helicopter.
You could drive there, and he probably did, because this phony Trump just didn't make a show, and he comes out and he drags his ass out. He doesn't quite look right. He's got a funny gait. Someone said, well, it's because of the corona. No, I don't think it was the same. And his hair didn't fluff the right way. And he kept waving and doing thumbs ups everywhere for not even looking at anyone.
And this is a good point. I feel because the whole idea was, well, he's tested positive, he had some sniffles, so just go to Walter Reed just to make sure. If that was truly the case, I think he would have spoken to the press if it really was him. He would do a little, hey, it's all right, I'm going to be cool. No, instead we got the White House video before, then we got the heli walk. Yeah, it's something to it. And also, what was taking place was he was right in the middle of denouncing white supremacists again. And I think the walls were closing in on him. There was no stop. Today, MSNBC is still posting, as of 2 hours ago, that the president has not denounced white supremacy or white supremacists.
Well, do you have the super clip or do I have the super clip?
Oh, I don't have a super clip. Do you have the super clip?
I do have the super clip.
Oh, let's hear the super clip. What is
this? This is the Trump on white supremacy without the name Judy attached to it. And it goes on forever. This is a very long clip.
He's yet wants to condemn white supremacy, the neo-Nazis. He hasn't condemned the darn thing.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
We've got David Duke just joined. A bigot, a racist, a problem.
Would you repudiate David Duke?
Sure. David Duke and robocalls are out again. The white supremacist movement supporting you. Do you have any words for that?
Well, I disavow.
David Duke endorsed me? Okay. All right. I disavow. Okay?
When we looked at it and looked at the question, I disavowed David Duke. So I've disavowed David Duke all weekend long on Facebook, on Twitter.
Yeah, that does go on forever. So that's him disavowing, not the media saying he doesn't disavow.
Yeah.
No, that would have been funnier as a supercut.
Oh, well, somebody's going to put that one together.
Yeah, they should.
But he goes on and disavows everything. You can...
I'll play a little more. Let me play a little more.
Play enough of it because it gets to the point where it's stupid.
Obviously, it's never enough.
So are you prepared right now to make a clear and unequivocal statement renouncing the support of all white supremacists?
Of course I am. Of course I am.
When Chris joined, we had a news conference, and they asked me the exact same question. I said, I disavow. I disavowed then. I disavowed today on ABC with George Stephanopoulos. I disavowed again.
David Duke is a bad person who I disavowed on numerous occasions over the years.
I totally disavow the Ku Klux Klan. I totally disavow David Duke. Ultimately, he got to the Ku Klux Klan, which obviously I'm going to disavow. I've rejected David Duke. I've rejected the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah, and this is from mainly 2016, isn't it? It's from the previous election where he had to do that.
This is during the David Duke. He wouldn't disavow David Duke era.
Now,
by the way, I want to point this out. This is the playbook. They're running the exact same playbook they ran when Hillary was running.
Yeah.
Only they've changed a couple of elements, and it goes on. You obviously don't want to play it, but I
do. It's just
wait a minute. The Zephyr just went by.
What? How can the Zephyr go by? I thought the schedule had changed, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it's not yet. It's coming.
What's coming?
This Zephyr, okay, this is an interesting one.
Hit it.
This was a 9-car Zephyr.
Whoa.
The bonus car was a mail car.
Bonus car! Anything else? What was the speed?
I thought it was going slightly slower than usual.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very interesting economic report. Alert the boys at CNBC on the Squawk Box. We have a 9-car Zephyr with a bonus mail card. Ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin, 10,680.
Oh, my God! Woo! Listen to that horn!
So when they change their schedule, I think we have to change show days.
Well,
No? No?
So let's go back to this disavowing. They also have him disavowing the Find People Want clip in here.
Well, let's listen.
He disavows.
Let's listen.
And he does it, and he does it, and he does it, and he does it, and he does it. But yet they say that he never does it. And so I have to play this clip.
Oh.
Says you don't want to play that.
No,
clip.
I'm saying I want to play it. It's 3 minutes. I figured it'd be fun to interrupt it instead of boring people to death.
Play,
so I'll play
more of
some
it
more.
because it's got another punchline at the end.
It's not that I don't want to play it, but I am a radio programmer. I know how to keep people listening.
Duke is saying to his supporters and followers, vote for Donald Trump. White supremacists are saying, vote. Do you want those votes?
No, I don't want them, and I don't want him to say it.
And you want the supporters?
No, I don't want anything.
What do you think of white supremacists, by the way?
I don't like any group of hate.
David Duke announced his Senate candidacy
claiming your agenda.
Are you ready before you ask the question?
Newt Gingrich said every Republican should repudiate this guy no matter what it takes.
And I do. Rebuked. Is that okay? Rebuked.
Rebuked.
Done.
Do you want white supremacists to vote for you?
No, I don't at all. Not at all.
His campaign is denouncing a show of support from the KKK's official newspaper, as in the Ku Klux Klan.
In the same New York Times interview, he denounced white supremacists. He denounced the neo-Nazis who support him.
Racism is evil. And those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. I spoke out forcefully against hatred, bigotry, and violence, and strongly condemned the neo-Nazis, the white supremacists, and the KKK.
President Donald Trump signed a congressional joint resolution that condemns white supremacy, neo-Nazis.
What? He signed a resolution?
In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. Any group of hate, I don't like it. Any group of hate, I am, whether it's white supremacy, whether it's any other kind of supremacy, whether it's Antifa, whether it's any group of hate, I am very concerned about it, and I'll do something about it.
He's yet wants to condemn white supremacy.
This is very interesting. Now I'm thinking about this. I got a note from someone a couple days ago, and they asked me if I had a link or a recording of that original, the fine people on both sides. Yeah. And it was my understanding, I know this person's connected to Michael Flynn or some other people, White House related, maybe Dana White from US, just like people around. And that there was a strategy. They wanted to put up a website so people could see this. Maybe the idea was, hey, they're rolling out the playbook. It's clearly a lie. And maybe let it all build up and self-implode on itself, or come out with something that shows that they all lie. I mean, I don't know.
They have this clip.
Well, of course they have it.
I want to play one last clip in the same regard. Play the Trump on white supremacy, Judy.
It has happened before with President Trump stopping short of clearly denouncing far-right extremists and racist groups and sentiments when prompted.
This was like this week?
Yeah, it was like a couple of days ago. Judy is a horrible journalist.
How can they do that? Do you think they don't remember, or this is very
remember?
Odd. Well, maybe they don't. I mean, these people are
they
crazy.
That stupid?
Possibly. Look how much money they're making. They must be dumb.
And they mentioned the New York Times even had him in the New York Times in that last series of clips. The New York Times said that he denounced white supremacy.
Yeah.
In the New York Times. Anyone who's in journalism at the level that Judy's at has LexisNexis. They can look this up. You can look up Trump and white supremacy, and boom, the New York Times article will come up.
Now, why in the world do you, A, say Judy's a journalist, and B, think she would do anything of the kind? She is not. She is a news reader. She used to be
She's a terrible news reader, and her writers are ambushing her.
Writers, thank you. They're not journalists, they're writers. Exactly. So maybe we let them all, maybe this is 2 weeks till we can see all the hate, because, wow, man, last night, Saturday Night Live opened their new season. Now imagine the problem you have if you're Saturday Night Live. You've been writing, practicing all week, getting everything going. Every punchline is a Trump joke. They have the entire debate. They did big, like a 14, 15-minute open. Outstanding. Alec Baldwin, didn't have his funny lines. Jim Carrey was Joe Biden. Phenomenally good. Extremely funny. The whole thing was great. Everyone was made to look foolish. Trump, Biden, and all the right things on Biden, too. Like forgetting stuff, looking in the camera creepily, trying to contain his anger, his anger management steps. And, Trump, we've kind of seen from Baldwin, it's like, oh, I'll interrupt now. Yeah, kind of what you'd expect. It was still funny. But then, oh, my God. Then they had to, or Jim Carrey, I guess it was his task to do this. And now most people haven't seen this because it just aired late last night, and Tina and I stayed up to watch the cold open and Chris Rock's monologue, which wasn't much funnier, because they went all out. It's like, I think that Lorne Michaels said, screw it. Let's just go all out. Who gives a shit? So the scene is the end of this, or in the middle of the debate, the Baldwin Trump character is yelling whatever, and then all of a sudden he freezes, and then we see that Jim Carrey, Joe Biden, has pressed the remote control, and he's frozen the president. And then he comes up to the camera, and he starts talking.
Now, Chris, could I speak directly to the American people?
Is it going to be weird?
Totally. Totally weird. America, look at me. Look directly into my eyeballs. You can trust me because I believe in science and karma. Now just imagine if science and karma could somehow team up to send us all a message about how dangerous this virus can be.
Now he looks at Trump, who's still frozen.
I'm not saying I want it to happen. But just imagine if it did.
So, I would just imagine science and karma came together. Woo. And look, the crowd loves it. Crowd goes crazy. And then
the crowd goes crazy.
So the joke writers, Jost, and Michael Che, they do Weekend Update. And Michael Che tried to explain the problem. And, well, I thought it was interesting just to play how they discuss this on the show as to how they should do jokes about this.
Well, say what you will about 2020, but it's got moves. This news was a lot for us to process a day before we came back on the air after 4 months off. And it all happened so fast. I woke up yesterday and heard the president had mild symptoms, and then 4 hours later he was getting medevac to a hospital in what looked like the last chopper out of Vietnam.
No.
I gotta say, it's a bad sign for America that when Trump said he tested positive for a virus, 60% of people were like, prove it. And it's been very weird to see all these people who clearly hate Trump come out and say, we wish him well. I think a lot of them are just guilty that their first wish came true.
Yeah, well, politics aside, this is awful news for us because Trump was actually supposed to host SNL next week. Okay, serious voice. While in the hospital, the president isn't allowed to see any guests, but he is expected to be visited by 3 ghosts. Probably one from his past, one from his future. Okay, look, this is weird. Because a lot of people on both sides are saying there's nothing funny about Trump being hospitalized with coronavirus, even though he mocked the safety precautions for the coronavirus. And those people are obviously wrong. There's a lot funny about this. Maybe not from a moral standpoint, but mathematically, if you were constructing a joke, this is all the ingredients you need. The problem is it's almost too funny. Like, it's so on the nose. It'd be like if I were making fun of people who wear belts and then my pants just immediately fell down.
A new poll shows
he couldn't even finish the thought. I don't know.
Hey, when did Trump mock safety precautions?
No, he hasn't. That's how people receive it. People think that he's mocking. No. Nah. Doesn't matter.
He mocked Biden's huge mask.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Hey, I was thinking about masks. There's so many studies. The surgical. We talked about on the last show the surgical mask. Everything blows out through the sides, comes back in. Yeah. If masks really, really work, why don't we have, like, for everything else, some national mask program where everyone gets an approved mask? The mask that works. Wouldn't that happen? Wouldn't that be a recommendation? This is the mask. Give everybody a mask.
Well, if you just look at the flu season, I would think maybe. I mean, in China they do that, and it doesn't seem to stop anything.
But it's so important that we wear a mask. It's the most important thing. In Glendale, California, up to $3,000 fines for your third infraction. In the Netherlands, now €95, $100 basically, fine for being caught without a mask.
Does this include like you're in the park by yourself?
Especially if you're in the park by yourself. It doesn't matter. You know that the people who patrol this are all in now. Like, just looking for people. They got power. Got a little power going on. $1,000 fine in New York City. Shouldn't we then at least have the right masks? Because, it just makes no sense. We've done everything else. Ventilators, whatever it needs. New hospitals. But we're not going to give everybody the approved mask. It just can't be true then. It's just a muzzle to shut you up.
Well, it's working, kind of.
It's working very well. Not just kind of. It's working fabulously.
Now, I like the way they keep downplaying the fact that there's a lot of hate, wish Trump was dead commentary.
Yeah, tons.
On Twitter and Facebook. In fact, according to Mimi, who's on Facebook still, she says that it's weird to watch because there's a whole bunch of backlash to all these people that are saying Trump should die of COVID because apparently there's some Jewish idea that, or a wives' tale or a superstition that if you say something like that, it'll happen to you.
Oh, bad karma.
And so there's all this crazy back and forth going on Facebook with its, although they're trying to, just eliminate anyone who says anything like that, like they did on Twitter, or they've done a pretty good job on Twitter, although you can still pick up a few of them. And there's some people that have been collecting them.
Yes.
And the one I posted in the newsletter was from a Obama. She just said
I hope she dies. I hope he dies.
She's an Obama staffer who now writes for Vanity Fair, which has become kind of a left-wing crazy magazine, especially teen Vanity Fair. That's when they had the article about why you should reconsider Marxism.
Let me ask you a question. I really like the newsletter with the 45 donation for the Get Well card.
Yeah.
If this had been Obama, would you have still considered doing the Get Well card?
Absolutely, but we would have gotten $1 less.
People are like, "Oh, that's horrible."
Somebody sent me a note about that, and some Australian guy sent me a note saying we're horrible, and he said, "Yeah, you should just shows you guys are big Trump supporters. You wouldn't, and I said that we would have done the same thing for Obama, and I would have.
I believe that. I don't see why people immediately say, "Oh." In fact, I think we've done some well wishes for Obama at some point.
Well, we were of the notion that Obama was just being used, and he's actually, there's the two Obamas are also his personality, where he wants to do the right thing, but he can't.
Right.
And
right.
So no, we didn't have any. No, the Trump thing was,
by the way, I think look. The campaign is campaigning ridiculously off of this. If I can just read a few of my text messages.
Two of these, and I'm not even on these mailing lists.
Oh my God, they're so good now. They're so good. Here we go. Trump Get Well card. Adam, your signature is missing from the president and first lady's Get Well card. Sign to show you care. And of course, you go to a donation page. President Trump and First Lady Melania tested positive for COVID. Send them your best wishes. They're fundraising. They're fundraising.
Yeah.
And of course, let's see what we have here. President Trump has a message for you from Walter Reed. We will beat this. Chip in. No, they don't say chip in. That's not them. What do I have from the Bidens here?
They've done a pretty good job of not saying chip in.
No. Let me see. Biden-Harris HQ. Today is your last opportunity to make monthly donations to the campaign. I keep getting text messages from Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, because I'm sure it's them, right? Who are texting me. Do you think people actually fall for that?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Now, I want to mention something to the people that bitch and moan about this our $45 thing, and the Get Well card, which will have everyone's name on it, which I'll send myself. If we were big Trump supporters, we'd say send them the money.
Send who the money?
Trump. The Trump campaign.
Oh, right. No, we're taking the money. Hello.
Oh, yeah. The money's for the show. We need the show. It needs support. So what kind of Trump supporters are we? We're not sending the get well card with the money.
We're no good. We're no good at that. I do love the New York.
We are taking the money is needed. This show needs money. That money goes to us.
I love the New York Times. Here's the Davy Alba wrote, liberals ask, why should we believe Trump has the virus?
I would think that's for a newspaper to do this chicken shit. I did it myself on the show.
Yeah, of course.
But it's still chicken shit if you're the newspaper.
Well, if you're the paper of record, I guess they're kind of just reporting on tweets. That's what the New York Times does a lot. It's reports about what people tweet.
That's not really reporting.
No.
Just get your own Twitter account.
Shouldn't this say opinion? Maybe it doesn't. I don't think it says opinion.
Oh, everything's opinions on the New York Times.
No, it doesn't say it, though. It doesn't say it. It's not under the opinion pages. It's under Trump test positive. Oh, well, whatever. That's fine. I don't mind. I think it's just great. What a great. Oh, here, Michael Moore. He definitely believes it's phony.
Well, because he's a phony.
Exactly. I'm still thinking my favorite is the 10 Days of Darkness according to QAnon and thousands of sealed indictments. This would be perfect. I'm not holding my breath, but it would be perfect. And with this, we've gotten a new term, which in a bizarre kind of way works possibly quite well for an end of show ISO. This is Corey Lewandowski, who was with the president during the debate, and I guess he must have also been around Hope Hicks. That's another thing that bothered me. I mean, what's the testing system? If they're all on the plane together, and yet someone gets tested first, gets a result first, then the president's tested. That was a little shaky.
I'll tell you what bothers me the most. I thought Hope Hicks was out. She was ousted. She was kicked out of the whole thing.
Yeah.
She was gone.
Yeah.
When did she get back in? How did that happen?
I don't know. You listen to Corey Lewandowski.
You were with him in 2016. How do you think the campaign changes right now? You got an election in 31 days, and your candidate's in the hospital.
You know, Bill, this is an opportunity for all those people who have supported this president to start fighting for him, as he has done for us over the last 5 years on the campaign trail and the 4 years as the president. So, look, we understand what's at stake in this election. The future of our country is at stake. We are here to support Donald Trump to stand in the breach that he can't stand in right now. And I can tell you this, the people on the Trump train continue to be actively engaged in advocating for this president for 4 more years in an election, which is 1 month from today.
Corey, thank you for your time. I hope you continue to stay negative, just like so many others. Thank you, Corey Lewandowski.
I like to stay safe. I hope you stay negative.
Thank you for your time. I hope you continue to stay negative.
What? Listen, great end of show, ISO. Listen.
Thank you for your time. I hope you continue to stay negative.
Well, I have some competitive ones for that.
That's okay. I just thought that was funny. It's like, stay negative. Hey, thank you for your courage. Stay negative. It just has such a great ring to it.
But this is another, by the way, this is another example. What has Lewandowski got to do with any of this? He's been supposedly
I thought he also was off the road. Yeah.
For a long time, ever since he grabbed that phony baloney reporter's arm and she's, oh gosh. No, you're hurting me. You're sending me to the ground. And then Ben Shapiro, the big phony, says, I am quitting Breitbart because they're not supporting our phony writer here who got hurt, damaged by Corey Lewandowski. I'm going to start my own publication.
Oh, gosh. And, Forgot all about that. It's so long ago.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Every time I hear Shapiro, I think, what a phony baloney this guy is. And I hear, oh, this guy's great.
In the entertainment corner, we also had South Park with their big Rona episode, the coronavirus episode. It was, I'd give it like a 7. It was okay. It was pretty funny. All ultimately anti-Trump. They just show him as a big flame-throwing douchebag, literally flame-throwing everything. With some very funny bits. And this I thought was reasonable humor.
All I'm saying is that we can't let some dirty virus from China completely upend our lives and shut us down.
Please do not quote the president in front of our child.
I like that. I think that's pretty funny.
That's a good line.
Those guys have the right idea. What else do you have on this specifically? Because I do want to talk a little bit about
I got the
testing.
rundown. I got, for example, on yesterday's NBC Nightly News. I'm just going to play the run. I mean, I have other clips.
Yeah.
But I want to play the rundown because the whole show, the whole half-hour news show, was just about Trump and having corona. This is the 1 minute, 9 second opening teaser for the NBC Nightly News yesterday.
Breaking news tonight. Critical hours. A White House official warns that the next 48 hours will be crucial for the president's health. The mixed messages as his doctors say the president is improving.
Thursday, he had a mild cough and some nasal congestion and fatigue, all of which are now resolving and improving.
The new reporting on his condition just before he was hospitalized. Did he need oxygen? And did the president travel on Air Force One to a fundraiser and back while he had symptoms? Also breaking, Chris Christie hospitalized for COVID tonight, as Republican senators Kellyanne Conway and the president's campaign manager also test positive. The new photo from inside the White House event attended by many now sick. And the moment at the debate when the Trump family waved off a doctor reminding them to wear masks. New rules. The vice presidential debate just days away. The new protocols to keep the candidates safe as Mike Pence announces more in-person campaign events. The president's experimental COVID treatment. We talked to patients who tried it.
This is NBC Nightly News with Jose Diaz-Balart.
Yeah, that's also interesting that he's been given remdesivir and Regeneron, a monocle cure.
I have the clips on this.
Oh, let's talk. Let's talk.
Let's talk. This is from the same NBC report, and this is the NBC went in. I didn't clip these, but they went into this thing about whether or not he was taking oxygen. They mentioned it in the teaser,
and that was part of.
They went back and forth, and there's nobody would say he's taking oxygen, but NBC kept saying we have sources that say he's been taking oxygen, and I don't even think what difference does it make. Oxygen is probably good.
Do you actually take oxygen? Is that?
That's what they say. You take it.
Yeah. When you go in the hospital, if you're pregnant, you go in the hospital, the thing you love is when they put that little cannula in your nose. Like, oh, man, you don't smell the hospital. It's nice and fresh, makes your brain all clear. But there was deconstructed photos of his walk to the helicopter that, purported to show he was wearing a very almost invisible cannula, had a thing on his back, a portable. Basically, Joe Biden's
Trump is an easier excuse, the better explanation.
Fake Trump. Now I have to go review that again. Gosh.
No, you look at it and you'll see he's a fake Trump. He doesn't walk right. Everything about him is fake.
And if I can point out, you were very adamant a few weeks ago that clearly the president had already had coronavirus, had taken hydroxychloroquine, and therefore could not even get the Rona anymore. I mean, obviously, you have to stick to that.
That was more than a few weeks ago. That was early on. Yeah. Okay, well, let's listen to the experimental drug, because this is interesting in that it generated an open letter by some maniac who sent it all around and showed up in my inbox as, passed around from person to person, about how he's got to stop taking this experimental drug because it blows out your kidneys and they're trying to kill the president. And these doctors are a bunch of Democrats.
Nice.
But the NBC report has none of that. But NBC may be on the side of the killers. Let's listen to experimental drug part 1.
President Trump is receiving a treatment not yet approved by the FDA. His doctors had to ask for special permission to use it. Just how effective is it? Kathy Park has the details.
Soon after the president's COVID-19 diagnosis, his physician released an update saying Mr. Trump received a single 8-gram dose of Regeneron's antibody cocktail.
It's a cocktail of 2 antibodies. If you put in 2, at least based on all of our scientific experiments, it can really protect against what a lot of people are worried about.
The experimental drug is intended to boost the body's immune system to help fight off the virus.
We could, with a single injection within a couple of days, dramatically lower their viral levels by 100-fold, by 99%.
The treatment is still under review, being tested on patients at all different stages of the infection. Regeneron released the drug to the president under compassionate use, an approval process that goes through the FDA for those requesting the drug outside of clinical trials.
Are there any side effects of taking this cocktail?
And it's been in more than 2,000 people. The safety is being monitored not only by us, by outside independent experts, an independent safety monitoring committee. And the safety profile is very benign.
I will say in no case have I heard of a patient, especially of the president's, the importance of the president, getting a experimental infusion of an antibody cocktail.
Nicole Martinez was diagnosed with COVID in August. With a weakened immune system due to multiple sclerosis, she believed the benefits of the experimental treatment outweighed the risks.
Do you think it potentially could have saved your life?
Yes, I would have to say that. 1,000%.
Days after the injection, Martinez says she began noticing improvements.
I gave it like 2 days. Then miraculously, my sense of smell and taste started coming back, which was a godsend.
Now, I did not see the Walter Reed medical professionals little press conference. Did they confirm that these are the treatments being used? Do we have confirmation, or is this just people talking?
No, I believe that they did confirm this.
Okay. All right.
But what seems to me that I still would like to know whether President Trump has a sense of smell.
Yeah.
No one's asked that or even talked about it. This woman who kind of brings it up, because that's the one thing that happens to most people that get corona. They end up with, they lose their sense of smell, which I find to be peculiar. And we got 2 more clips in this series.
You know, I've heard that people with influenza also sometimes lose sense of taste and smell.
Oh, I've never heard that.
Yeah, well, I heard a couple times.
Huh. Well, I don't think that would be a benefit to anyone who likes wine.
No.
So, okay, let's go clip 2.
And Kathy joins us now. Kathy, how soon could antibody drugs for COVID be available to the general public?
Jose, there are several companies developing these drugs right now, but right now they're still in the trial phase. Regeneron says it's working with the federal government to roll out roughly 300,000 doses by the end of the year for those at highest risk. Jose?
Oh, okay. Rolling them out.
300,000. Now, I got the third clip, which is just a little add-on here, and I want to play it. And then I'll discuss something about it afterwards.
With his diagnosis, the president is now part of an increasingly common club. More than 7 million Americans have contracted the virus. More than 30,000 are in the hospital for it right now. The country has become almost numb to the grim statistics. Nearly 1,000 Americans still dying each day. But as the commander-in-chief battles the virus, will it change any behaviors? Sam Brock has more.
On the streets of South Florida, a buzz of activity inside restaurants, bars, and clubs. Some Floridians feeling pandemic fatigue.
They go into the Florida thing and they show people, boozing it up and having a good time. Now there was a little throw through, and I don't know how to describe these, but they happen all the time. And in that last clip, that you didn't hear it. Because nobody hears this stuff. And I'm really concerned about the fact that news reports can do stuff like this and nobody, because it does probably go in the brain. And do you have any idea what it might be?
No, I'd have to listen to it again.
You would have caught it. If you're going to, well, you
can I try it again? Can I just? It's only 35 seconds. I'd like to try it again. I'd like another try, Alex, please.
With his diagnosis.
Well, now that you know it exists.
Yeah, now I'll find it. Hopefully.
You'll find I would be stunned if you didn't. But let me mention something else about that. If you listen to all the news with it in mind that these exist, and so we try, by the way, and I will say that I don't catch these things right away. It's only because we do these clips that we catch them at all, because we listen to it.
Right.
We get the clip.
You edit
we
it.
produce the clip, and in the process of producing the clip, we hear it.
All right, I'm going to listen again.
With his diagnosis, the president is now part of an increasingly common club. More than 7 million Americans have contracted the virus. More than 30,000 are in the hospital for it right now.
Well, right there off the bat, it's 1 in 7 million have tested positive is not the same as contracting the virus. Is it that? Because that's a problem too.
No, it's just kind of. I have the ISO of it.
Well, let me continue. Let me just continue. Let's hear the rest of it.
There's no more. That was it. You caught the moment.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if there was more. I'm sorry.
But what he does is, if you listen carefully, he says 1 in 7 million have the virus when he meant to say. What he meant to say was more than 7 million.
Oh man.
But now listen, I have the ISO. Play the ISO. This is so you can hear it a little better. This is the Trump experimental drug bonus ISO.
More than 7 million Americans have contracted the virus.
Isn't he saying more than 7 million?
He's saying, when you hear it, it's 1.
Let me hear it again.
More than 7 million.
He's saying more.
More than 7
Yeah, he's saying more, but but you can hear 1.
More than 7 million Americans have contracted the virus.
Okay. I mean, I'm just hearing him say more. It's fine.
Yeah, you're hearing more because you want to hear more now because he's saying more, but he's saying but you can also hear 1. And in the longer clip, it sounds more like 1. We had this phenomenon before. This is like the blue dress, gold dress.
It is completely.
And you can hear these words.
Well, that's
now sometimes, obviously, I exaggerate, like the thing where it says Jew.
Yeah, here it is.
In the last show.
Second point I'd make to you.
I'm just worried that you're not actually holding on to it. you do hear both ways, right? I just want to make sure you hear everything.
Well, I got the Jew thing comes from a Woody Allen bit. I think it was either in Annie Hall or Manhattan, where Woody walks down the street with his partner and he keeps saying, "No, he said Jew. He said." Wouldn't you mind going with me? Wouldn't you? He says Jew, and he makes a big stink about this Jew comment. And every time I hear someone who runs runs together the words "wouldn't you" or "wouldn't you," I just think back on this Woody Allen gag, and so I can't resist pulling them out.
Okay, that's pretty funny.
Anyway, okay, that's all I've got on the experimental drug and this 1 in 7 million.
Well, final thought is Occam's razor. He's got it. He's sick. He's going to fight it. I think he's got it. He's going to come out and he'll do a big, or either he comes out of it or he doesn't. He looks like he's fluey. He looks a bit fluey just from the pictures I've seen. So he comes out and he stages a huge comeback and it's going to be, monstrously good. Or he's going to die. I mean, he's not going to die. It could happen.
I don't think so. Yeah. Not with that care. It's impossible. People who die are usually doing it. I don't want to go to the doctor and they're dead the next day.
Yeah. Well, now let's talk about testing for a moment because this is heating up in a very interesting way. And of course, I love it when things I've been looking at start to pop to the top. First, we go to the United Kingdom's. This is what's that guy's name? Andrew. He has the talk show normally, kind of that in-your-face guy. Farage used to go on there all the time and argue with him. I can't remember his name. Anyway, he's doing a show from home, of course, because they're. You're not talking
about O'Brien.
I don't know
James O'Brien.
No, it's Andrew something.
He's the most in-your-face guy.
Andrew Neil.
Oh, the guy. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Andrew Neil. I think he controls.
That guy.
Yeah. So he had on. And this is BBC. No, is he BBC? I think it's BBC. It doesn't matter. He's on real television, not like a podcast. And he had on Professor Sunetra Gupta, leading epidemiologist at the University of Oxford. And a very good question is what metric, all these numbers that are being thrown out, what metrics should we actually pay attention to understand where we are in the pandemic?
Which key metric should we be using to see how bad the COVID situation is?
Well, certainly we shouldn't be looking at cases. There are all sorts of problems associated with testing positive, what that actually means. Does it mean a person is infectious, or simply has some residual bits of virus in their throat or nasopharynx or up their nose, wherever they take it from. Deaths is always good. You can't argue with deaths. But so I think we should be looking at deaths. But the other important point here is that we should be looking at deaths and even cases, should we be able to measure them correctly and contextualize them against the amount of testing that's being done, even all of these should be placed benchmarked against what is happening with other infections, other respiratory infections in particular. What's happening with flu? What's happening with pneumococcal pneumonia? Until we place it in the context of these other infections, we tend to get this sort of blinkered our viewpoint is very restricted.
Yes, and that, of course, is intentional. So you hear almost zero death rate. All you hear is a number. 1,000 people dying every day. 1,000 people. We don't really know if it's comorbidities. And it's a never-ending argument. We'll never finish it.
We have the charts. I run them in the newsletter constantly. Almost every newsletter, I've got a new chart that shows the same thing.
Yep, cases versus
huge
death.
Bump in April, went way up. The curve came way down to a secondary little bitty bump in terms of deaths.
Yeah.
And then down to pretty much next to nothing. But the case is skyrocketing the whole time.
So an unbelievable question and answer session in the Scandinavian Parliament. And yes, as opposed to in Australia, in Canada, they do say premier. In Australia, they say premier. So we had the independent member of Parliament, Randy Hillier, and he asked the Prime Minister, who was represented in this case by his Health and Human Services official, about the PCR test. And this, of course, is one of my favorite topics because we have seen anything but data that shows from our very own epidemiologists, our lab technicians, all the people who are members of Gitmo Nation saying, really, if you're spinning this thing to amplify, to find traces of something above 30 cycles, you're really going to bring up all kinds of stuff that could be something else. It could look like you're positive. It's dead virus fragments, so it's really not helpful. And this, bless him, this member of Parliament had quotes, had the whole thing, and a just beautiful exchange, and I'm so happy it was on their Parliament TV.
My questions to the Premier. Our COVID policies and the risk that they pose requires an honest and forthright discussion. Dr. Yeadon, a former chief scientist with the pharmaceutical giant Pfizer, has stated, and I quote, most, if not all, of the PCR tests result in false positives due to high CT thresholds. Juliet Morrison, a virologist at the University of California, states, and I quote, any test with a cycle threshold above 35 is too sensitive. The Public Health Agency of Canada reported in May of this year that testing over 25 cycles provides dubious results. The prestigious Oxford professor Dr. Carl Hannigan has stated a PCR test does not equal COVID-19. Speaker, my question to the Premier is your testing creating both a false understanding of the risk as well as false positives?
Before we go to the answer, we talk to our political consultant from the Curry Dvorak Consulting Group, John C. Dvorak. What is the correct answer for the health professional in this case, John?
Well, I'm not sure what the question is.
That's a great answer. Let's hear it again.
Speaker, my question to the Premier is your testing creating both a false understanding of the risk as well as false positives?
Oh, then the answer is yes, it is.
Is that the answer?
And the true answer would be, if you're the consultant, you go, yes, it is. We need to keep the public all jacked up right to the election so we get Trump out of office. Once that happens, we can pull back on all this. It's no problem. Big deal.
This is Canada.
They don't care. They hate Trump. They hate Trump in Canada more than they hate him here.
But that can't be the answer from the health lady saying that.
Yes,
no, well, she actually answered it that way in her own way.
Thank you, Speaker. The PCR testing is very effective in areas areas where there are outbreaks. It has proven to be so.
They're very effective. Not accurate, not precise. It's even worse. They're very effective where there's outbreaks.
That's a great use of the term effective.
It's perfect.
It's doing the job.
It's perfect.
Thank you, Speaker. The PCR testing is very effective in areas where there are outbreaks. It has proven to be so. We are receiving that information. We need that information in order to take action. We have taken action on several fronts in terms of limiting unmonitored social gatherings, limiting capacities in restaurants and bars, and in other actions that we've taken. But I'm not quite sure what the member is suggesting. Are you suggesting we don't do any testing? We just stop testing? Is that the reaction that we should be taking with it?
Ooh, go on the offense right away. Go to what? We shouldn't be doing any testing, even though this is a 50-second shit? She literally said it's very effective in an outbreak so that we can then get people to social distance. Not very effective or precisely identifying who has the virus. None of that is in there. This lady screwed it up.
What else would you suggest?
Back to the Premier, and I'm glad that question was posed. On July 30th, the Deputy Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Barbara Yaffe, stated, and I quote, "Our testing can result in over 50% false positives. That is, the person actually doesn't have COVID. They have something else, or they may have nothing." She has also called for limits on testing of asymptomatic people, while the government calls for more. Another contradiction in a long list of COVID contradictions. We know high false positive rates are due to high CTs, and Canadian and world experts agree it should not be more than 25 cycles. Yet, according to the Journal of Virology, Ontario labs are testing samples at 38 to 45 cycles. That's what needs to be done.
And it's the same here with our lab. They're at 45 sites, not even 38 to 45, just crank it up to 35. That's where it belongs. So these lab guys who are part of the pharmaceutical medical industrial complex, these
the
are
more cycles, the more money.
Exactly. And then he comes back, he doubles down.
The more cycles, the more money, the more money, the more testing, the more testing, the more money, the more cycles. I mean, this is just a bonanza.
And you think
if you're running a lab, by the way, you're not making a lot of money generally.
So now we're going to double down, and we're just going to take it a step further.
Speaker, to the Premier, when did the Premier become aware of these faulty tests and practices? And why have you done nothing to fix them since at least July?
I would say to the member, there are zero inconsistencies coming from our public health experts.
25.
Dr. Yaffe has clarified what she indicated before. What she indicated before was that the 25. PCR testing is very effective in areas where we are having outbreaks, such as what we're...
Effective in areas where we're having outbreaks. So when I did my PCR test at Rogan, it wasn't effective because there wasn't an outbreak. So it's only effective so you can just say, we have an outbreak. This makes no sense. But don't worry.
Areas where we are having outbreaks, such as what we're seeing in various parts of the province right now, in Peel, in Ottawa, and in Toronto. We need that testing to make those decisions. We are taking...
You hear that? We need testing to make those decisions because it's very effective. Yeah, for your agenda.
Those decisions. We are taking action where we need to take action. We're looking at other methods of testing as well. Some of the antigen testing is looking very promising. It looks as if Health Canada is going to be approving that. It's a good screening tool, but we need every tool that we can use at our discretion. PCR testing, antigen testing. We're looking at saliva testing. We need everything that we can do for screening and for testing purposes to keep the people of Ontario
locked down. Yeah, to keep the people locked down. Yeah. We need every tool. It's looking promising. Not a single one, and that's one time did this lady say, this works, it's accurate, or it's precise. No, none of it. It's looking promising. Saliva tests, antibody tests. Bull crap. We're being hoodwinked, and it's in the system. It's not by these people. The assay showed up for the big lab, one of the two big labs that we have. It's at 45 cycles. It's just too high. And they need it. Oh, yeah, they need it. She's not lying. We need it so we can keep you locked down and muzzled up. Shut up, slave.
Well, what's the point?
Control, power.
What kind of power are they going to get? What kind of control? What kind of control and power? What power? What are they going to use the power for? They're breaking the backs of the economy. They're ruining all the restaurants that they like to go to.
To build back better. Hello. You've got to break it down to build back better so we have a reason to shepherd in the Green New Deal and all of the great green, good-paying jobs it's going to bring.
Good-paying union jobs.
Yeah. Yes, I think that is ultimately where it's headed.
So you think this is all part of the giant hoax of climate change?
Yes. Note from Greg, I'm a producer living in Italy. On October 1st, the Italian Prime Minister, Giuseppe Conte, while addressing the UN Assembly in Berlin, used the phrase, cerchiamo di ricostruire meglio, which translates, according to Google Translate, to we try to build back better. So he basically said build back better. It's all over the place. Another another Chinese affiliate there with Build Back Better. Who the heck knows who's behind it? But when you tell
the
people,
Chinese would benefit from this. They put off they've already made the statement. Although Biden praised it, as China's claim they're going to have carbon dioxide emissions peak. It's going to peak in 2030, and then they're going to head towards zero emissions in 2050. They're not peaking anything. They're just doing what they do. They're paying no attention to any of this. They're going to be at a dominant position in terms of manufacturing and in terms of just the ability to do anything profitably than anybody that's going to start depending on wind power. When you have, for example, the United States has 350 years worth of coal in the ground that could power this country for 350 years.
Yeah.
But we can't do that. Cheap, and that's cheap. That's cheap energy, and energy translates to cheap goods. Because if you can power a plant to make something and it doesn't cost anything to power the plant, the product coming out is going to be a lot less expensive. It's just going to be cost of materials.
If they get their way, and they clearly seem to be pushing very hard, everything will be shoved under the Green New Deal. New taxes, everything,
taxes.
and there will be. They've already said it. Work from home weeks. It's lowering the cost of big corporate infrastructure, lowering their building costs for sure by up to 40%, and keeping slaves interchangeable at home in their little pod. It's like the Matrix. We just connect the internet to your umbilical cord, and we've got a human resource. It works by itself. Look at it. It's in this little thing there. It's little house. It generates stuff for me. Don't have to do anything to it. Don't have to worry about it. No HR issues. No workman's comp. This is great. And then we'll just give them phony baloney jobs. That'll be good paying green jobs and universal basic income. This is what they want to do. They're not hiding this.
So they don't hide it.
No.
But they obfuscate things in a certain way that only a few people can understand. Normally, our producers, we can figure most of this out. But I don't know what good it does anyone. Makes us feel better. Well, at least we can prepare for the worst.
Yes.
I don't know.
Well,
but you're right. You're right. This whole thing is heading. It's just it's a bad situation. The rest of this year with this bull crap lockdowns when there's no deaths is ridiculous.
Yeah, but the ridiculousness is from the citizens themselves. I mean, Austin had a big rally yesterday. What'd they call it? It was like a constitutional rights rally. Let me see what it was called. Yes, Constitutional Rights Summit. Now, I had stuff to do, obviously.
Constitutional Rights
Summit. Everyone went out and bitched about not having a mask. Sure. Yeah.
Well, I would recommend people look at those 4 charts that are in the last newsletter and the charts before all the other newsletters before that, and just take a look and tell me what doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So now we're starting to polish everything up. Make sure everyone knows who's on the right side of all this and who's doing the best and who's doing all the good work.
Good work.
And the Cuomo, who I believe to be responsible for, not directly, but
Yes.
He did order
directly
sick people. Well, he's denying this.
Yeah, now all of a sudden he's denying what they have documented?
Yeah, so I have two clips. One from CNN. Now, of course, with the soft shoe, because he is Chris Giant Head Cuomo's brother. And they're kind of setting it up for the alley-oop, which is the second clip.
It's impossible to know for sure how many of New York's 6,000 COVID-related nursing home deaths are linked to the state's order. But it is a growing political storm for Governor Andrew Cuomo, who insists he was just following federal guidelines.
New York followed the president's agency's guidance.
That is not quite true.
Not quite
Federal guidelines say nursing homes can accept COVID patients. New York's directive said no resident shall be denied admission. Still, Cuomo said nursing homes were not required to take COVID patients if they didn't feel they could handle them.
I think the rule that you can't discriminate against the COVID patient is right. That doesn't mean the nursing home has to accept a COVID positive patient.
But the heads of nursing homes say they viewed the March 25th directive as a mandate. One telling CNN, "We were told that we were not allowed to turn people down." Nursing homes added staff, tried to make other changes, but many couldn't stop the spread of COVID. After 6 weeks, Cuomo essentially reversed part of his directive, issuing an executive order saying hospitals
cannot discharge a patient to a nursing home unless the patient tests negative for COVID-19.
Critics claim the governor finally realized his policy was wrong.
So that's the soft cover he's given, which allows the governor of New York to make this statement to the Finger Lakes Daily News.
And we never needed nursing home beds because we always had hospital beds. So it just never happened in New York, where we needed to say to a nursing home, we need you to take this person even though they're COVID positive. It never happened. We had extra beds. We had extra beds at Javits. We had extra beds at emergency hospitals that we put up all across the state. So it just never happened that we needed a nursing home to take a COVID positive person. It never happened.
And that's how it goes.
This guy is shameless.
Yeah, that's how it goes. He's not just shameless. We only have one word for that here on the show.
Douchebag. Douchebag.
Total douche.
So I have a note from, I'm going to get this note, I have to find it, from an anonymous lesbian.
Oh, good.
Let me just summarize her note. She says that, let's see if I did print it out now. She says that she hates this guy, Cuomo, and she's convinced that there is he's behind there's some scam going on, and everything's part of this scam of his. He's somehow profiting. And she believes that once the shutdown took place, especially in New York, that nobody has noticed what they've done to LaGuardia.
Oh.
She flew out of LaGuardia to Boston for some event, and then she says LaGuardia has been completely leveled and completely rebuilt on a 24/7 basis. They had every worker in that could be in construction, no masks, just working their asses off 24/7 to rebuild LaGuardia into some outrageously gorgeous modern airport. And you've been to LaGuardia, I've been there.
Yes, it was a
shithole.
Piece of shit.
Shithole airport. And she thinks that there's something going on with him and the construction workers or whatever to rebuild this airport from the ground up, from scratch, to this modern, new, fancy airport, and no one's talking about it.
It is an $8 billion construction of new LaGuardia taking place while keeping the existing airport fully operational on a site smaller than Central Park. When complete, it will be the first new major airport in the United States in more than 25 years. The new LaGuardia Airport follows the vision Governor Cuomo outlined in 2015 to create a unified 21st century airport with world-class amenities, iconic public art, state-of-the-art security, improved this is your gulag, people. Improved transportation access and additional airside taxiways to reduce delays. The overall $8 billion investment, New York is broke, but no, $8 billion investment is 2/3 privately financed. Okay.
There you go. There's your scam.
What do you think? China? Could it be China? We need to find out.
It could be China. I never thought of China because China's involved. Because China throws up airports in China.
It's probably Chinese people building it, man. What are you talking about?
Well, that could be too.
Oh, let's see. Who is investing? Let's see. It doesn't say. Of course, we should know.
We'll look at
Magic Johnson is invested in it, apparently, in the new LaGuardia.
How does that work?
I don't know. Magic Johnson's Enterprises teamed up with Loop Capital Markets and its CEO, Jim Reynolds, to become equity investors in LaGuardia Gateway Partners. Oh, my goodness. Well, now let's just do a simple search. China investment LaGuardia. This is show prep.
Why even bother beating around the bush?
I don't see it. I don't see milestone reach. Or maybe this is it. Could be. I don't know, man. But that's very interesting. It's very interesting that she brought that to our attention. I thought that New York had no money. They were broke. They need a bailout. I guess it was private.
Apparently, this airport's a beauty.
Well, that is kind of welcome, but I worry about the Chinese thing because they own Times Square for New Year's Eve. They own a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they could be heavily involved. And maybe Magic Johnson, who's ex-NBA, is just a front man for the Chinese, for all we know.
Here we go. Charlie in the troll room. Back in 2015, Cuomo first announced plans for the overhaul led by a consortium called LaGuardia Gateway Partners, which includes Skanska, HOK, USA, Vantage Airport. Chiners are involved. Chinese, yeah. So of course, I mean, there's going to be all kinds of money in a project like that. How can you go wrong? How can you go wrong? That's why Magic Johnson's in on it. Whoa, yeah. Well, I love the anonymous lesbian for turning us on to that. That's very good. Now back to the douchebag elites in Chicago. Mayor Lori Lightfoot lost her marbles, and this just gives you a
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. I had not thought of her that way, but yes, Beetlejuice does look a bit like Beetlejuice, doesn't she?
A bit.
Well, she dressed up as the Rona Crusader. Yes, she came into the press briefing with this music playing, and she and her Health and Human Services secretary were wearing capes and masks and handing out bottles of Clorox and hand sanitizer as the...
So guess what we're here to talk about today?
Rona Crusaders.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy October 1st. I'd like to begin by acknowledging my partner in crime, Dr. Allison Arley, Commissioner of Public Health.
The truth wants to come out.
Public health partner in crime. She nailed it.
Truth wants to come out.
The truth wants to come out.
Absolutely. That's funny. Well, here's another truth wants to come out. This is Chris Wallace.
It seems to be the key story.
For those who know, Chris Wallace, Fox News, the guy who moderated the first presidential debate.
It seems to me the key story is the health of the president and the question of the safety. Right. You know, to me, the takeaway of this whole thing is the follow the science. We've made the masks a political issue.
Oh!
We haven't. The candidates have.
Oh, yeah? No, Chris Wallace. You have. You made it a political issue. The news media made it a political issue. No backing down.
We haven't. The candidates have. And it's not a political issue. It's a public health issue. And if I could say one thing to all of the people out there watching, forget the politics. This is a public safety health issue. The President of the United States is in the most secure bubble in the world, in the sense that everybody who comes in contact with him has to take a test, and he still got it. So wear the damn mask and follow the science.
Oh my goodness.
That's the key takeaway.
This follow the science, listen to the science tells us is bull crap. Science doesn't talk. the men who speak for science. That's the power right there. You know, people like Bill Gates, everyone, he speaks on behalf of science. These are the representatives. Those people need to be listened to. Science, it says this. We better learn a little bit as a world how science really works. I just want to remind you, everybody, about Bill Gates back in Davos 2015, I think, 2016, when he was talking about, you know, this is obviously pre-coronavirus, but talking about his investments in the vaccine industry. Please just remember what's going on here.
You've invested $10 billion in vaccinations over the last 2 decades, and you figured out the return on investment for that. And it kind of stunned me. Can you walk us through the math?
Well, it's pretty impressive that when you take these vaccines, get them to be very inexpensive by making big volume commitments, have that right relationship with the private sector, get the delivery system so they're really getting the coverage out there, you literally save millions of lives. You know, we see a phenomenal track record. It's been $100 billion overall that the world's put in. Our foundation is a bit more than $10 billion, but we feel there's been over a 20-to-1 return. So if you just look at the economic benefits, that's a pretty strong number compared to anything else. The human benefit in millions of lives saved. So, you know, we're here with a pretty strong message that although all these other issues are very important, let's not forget about the great success in global health and maintaining that commitment.
I think the numbers that you ran through were, if you had put that money into an S&P 500 and reinvested the dividends, you'd come up with something like $17 billion, but you think it's $200 billion.
Here, yeah.
Oh, yeah, lovely. They're getting rich. Nonprofit. I love the nonprofit where they just keep printing money. It's so cool. They never have to fundraise. They never have to do anything. It's just they invest and it just becomes more and more. It's fantastic.
Yeah, they invest in prisons too.
Yes. No, although they said they dialed that back, but I don't believe it.
Yeah, dialed it back doesn't mean they don't invest in prisons. We're going to do a lot more, but we decided not to.
We dial it back a bit. I got two little... You remember the, what was that, Haig guy from the UK, the You Will Obey, and...
Haig, the billiard ball guy.
Yeah, actually, I should probably... what's that, Haig? How do you spell Haig?
Hague, I think.
Oh, that may be. Yeah. So just this is something we put together years ago.
Intelligence work takes place within a strong legal framework. We operate under the rule of law and are accountable for it. In some countries, secret intelligence is used to control their people. In ours, it only exists to protect their freedoms. Protect their freedoms. Protect their freedoms.
So we had that. And we have our Knight of the Southern Skies, who is in Danistan, also known as the Victoria, Melbourne, Australia. And he's put together his own versions, too, actually, of the Mr. Dan and his statements.
Go home and follow the rules. There is no need to protest about anything.
Follow the rules. You will.
And then this one.
Let's be clear. Despite some of the absolute nonsense about encroaching on people's civil liberties and human rights, this is not about human rights.
It's about human rights.
Go home and follow the rules.
There's no human rights.
He needs a little more. I like the Russian chorus in the background, but he needs to put a little more echo on the guy.
Yeah, and maybe a little more high end, so he punches through a bit better. But it's a very good job. I like these a lot, and I like it because we're months ahead of Australia. So they're catching up on the script. And it's nice when we can kind of give them the same jollies we've always had here. You need that stuff. You need to laugh about it. I think this is the ISO of the clip. Oh, no, maybe not. What is this? What the hell?
It's not about human rights.
Oh, it's a different one.
Go home and follow the rules. The curfew will not be changing. Follow the rules.
It doesn't take much to make these guys sound pretty evil. And all the elements are there. Just need to add a music bed and a little echo. That's what's really happening down under. Anything more on the COVIDs or anything we need to do that we've...
Look at COVID. I do have this woman that is a healthcare worker with a little complaint. She had a real long complaint, but I took 13 seconds of it. I think she's a doctor. But she's bitching about stuff. And I took the 13 seconds. So out of the 13 seconds, I pulled 2 good ISOs for the end of show mix. And I think they'd be just generally good for a lot of different things. But this is the healthcare worker and her complaint.
What I now find out is that I am trained to work for a system that keeps people dependent, dumb, and sick. And this is a crime.
This is a Dutch Dutch woman.
Yes.
It was actually Ancilla who told me about her because she knows her very well. And she did quit her job and she's crowdfunding her existence to be out there and talk the truth. And it was actually quite a good statement that she made. I like the Dutch.
And it's not offensive like your Dutch.
Why is my Dutch offensive?
Well, not to me.
Oh, okay. The Dutch like it.
Oh, okay.
They think it's funny.
I got the 2 ISOs, and I thought you have to imagine end of show, and then you have ISO number 1, dumb and sick. This is the very end of show.
Dumb and sick.
Okay, good. Yeah,
I think it's a good end of show one. And the other one, which is crime, is the other ISO.
This is a crime.
I don't know. So we have, I think dumb and sick is definitely up there. But I think stay negative is still in the running. Let's listen again.
Dumb and sick.
Thank you for your time. I hope you continue to stay negative.
No, it's too long. It's too long.
It's violating your rule of length.
No, I'm too long. Yeah, that's right. Okay. I think dumb and sick is good. Because that's what we are. We're dumb and sicker. It's dumb and sicker, everybody. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in 45 PCR cycles, Mr. John C. Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. In the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
In the morning to everybody, including you trolls, 1870 of you. Yep, they're back, John. Everyone's back on board. That's the way we like to see it. In the morning.
That's because that's because now they're back on the Trump bandwagon.
Well, what happens... So Trump gets whatever, goes to the hospital. My phone blows up. My family, and you can see the mixed emotions, and they're confused and angry and mad you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I stepped on a cord that's hooked to the mic.
Okay, Robert Plant. So it's logical. People. I mean, did you see what happened on the Twitters Thursday? A sample. We need an emergency pod. We need an emergency show right now. You have to get on the stream and talk to us. That's not how it works.
See that. I'm not on Twitter that much anymore.
No, good. And while I
didn't see it on Mastodon.
No. But while I appreciate it, no, that's not how it works. We need to digest. We need to get clips. We need to see what's happening. And you can't do from one day to the next. And please, I mean, it's unstoppable. But I personally, I can't tell you why exactly. But when people say an episode or a show and they call it a pod, I just want to hit you.
Oh, I didn't know it. Oh, that's terrible.
And it started with Pod Save America started using that term. Well, tomorrow on the pod. And it's taken over. It's called a pod, and it's
Pod Save America is one of the worst podcasts of them all. It's just a bunch of people haranguing Trump.
Yeah, unlike us, who harangue
anybody.
But it's just the term is like pod, like a pea pod or a little pod of idiots sitting in the pod,
like Podbean.
Yeah, Podbean. Podbean. Working on the podcastindex.org, Podbean is, I'd say, number 2 or number 3 of all podcast feeds.
Really?
Yes. I meant to tell you that. It's like, holy crap, Podbean's no joke. Those guys are the real deal. They got I think, 50, 60,000 at least.
Really?
Like updating. Yeah, not just.
I think we're even on there some, or not. I don't know.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, they
on Podbean?
On Podbean.
Well, this is a big problem. There's a lot of fraud where, like Scott Adams is a perfect example. And it's on Spotify. This Pod Adams is on Spotify with two feeds, the same show, except he doesn't own one of them. It's just someone ripping off his feed. And if they ever run ads, they'll probably make the money off of it. So there's a lot of fraud in Anchor, which was bought by Spotify, and I can't know about Stitcher, but for sure Podbean. I was like, power to those guys. They did it right. Podbean.
It's the name that cracks me up. That's the only reason I use it. It's like Spuzum up in BC. It's just funny. So I use it all the time because it always gets a laugh out of you.
It does. I can't help it. It just is so lame, Podbean. Anyway, good to have you here, trolls. Working hard overtime. Thank you. It's highly appreciated. NoAgendaStream.com. You go to that page. There's a chat widget right there. You can listen to the stream live, chat along with the trolls. It's really called trolling. And they're trolling me right now. I shouldn't be looking while I'm trying to concentrate. That is noagendastream.com. When you're in there, just hit them up for an invite to noagendasocial.com, which is our Mastodon federated social network. No algorithms, so the signal-to-noise ratio is high. John and I post there more. Well, John doesn't post anything on Twitter anymore, just retweets. So if you want some of that great brain juice from the fabulous Dvorak, go to noagendasocial.com. And I begin the morning to the artiste who brought us one of the best pieces of art in conceptually and I think in execution, Mountain J, the Build Back Better Django blocks. Django, whatever the game is.
I don't know what they're called. I didn't even know that they were called anything blocks. Until you pointed it out, which sold me on the piece.
Yeah, it's Jenga blocks. It's the game where you pull the blocks out and then it all falls down if you do it wrong. That's
I don't know what it's called.
So it's Build Back
blocks.
Build Back Better. I saw people asking for a version of it without the writing so they could adapt it for their own country. Now, of course, Great Reset and Green New Deal, you can leave in there, but they want to maybe Blow Jiden had to go. But people were so jacked about it.
They loved the weakest one.
I was interviewed by Max Kaiser, Max and Stacy, yesterday on their Orange Pill podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I laid this out about the Build Back Better. And you want to see Max Kaiser's brain start to go into high gear and smoke comes out of his ear. When he heard this, he's like, holy crap, they're exporting the entire globalist agenda. Say, yeah, and the branding. People are starting to figure it out. And how long have we been on this? Half a year? At least?
Well, when you found it in the UN declaration, and it was I would say it's about 4 months.
Yeah.
It may be longer. I mean, you lose track of times with some of these things that are just going on and on and on, and nobody's paying attention, except us.
I really like that piece, and once you see it, then it's like, holy crap, that's just so good.
It's a very good piece.
Now, were there yes, go.
We will talk about the pieces that you started off with. You were a big supporter of the Build Back Better 33 train that was done by Darren.
No, I wasn't a big supporter. I said it was nice.
Well, you liked it.
Yeah, sure. And also Putin's
for some reason, I didn't think much of it. I kind of like the one I kind of like was Nacho Tramp's disgusting picture of Biden kissing
Chris Wallace.
Chris Wallace in a dress. And I was actually promoting that piece the most. But you nixed it based on a feeling that you had seen the art before.
Yes, that's right. Well, certainly that's the template of Joe sniffing someone. And it was
it's all over.
It was well done. I didn't like our own template, the No Agenda template that was put over.
But I would have still continued to push this piece, and I think it was solely except for the fact that you thought you saw it before. And here's what I'm going to just mention this for the artist's benefit.
Mm-hmm.
If we see art that looks like it may have been lifted, we don't use it, and we usually check for it. I could not find that this was lifted, and I used it. I just post it every once in a while because I think it's funny. But the problem is there's this artist, Nacho Tramps or whatever it is, has no track record of any sort. He's got one picture of Pepe the Frog, which is definitely lifted. So I couldn't go with, well, this guy looks like a pro. He's been doing a lot of stuff. This is very much like his normal style. So I couldn't back him up. And so, I mean, many of the artists, you can just click on their,
you can
the
see
great
their
thing
history.
about the art generator, you can look at their history and you can see the artists who are professionals. It just stands out like a sore thumb.
Honorable mention for Nick the Rat's Putin's puppy.
Yes, and Nick the Rat's Putin, which was another nice piece, because it turns out that Putin does look like a dog. And I think that was also in contention. But we ended up with this piece, which you actually identified and sold me on because you mentioned the name of those blocks, and I didn't realize that it was that. And so, that was the piece that won. It was a tough one. This was a tough
It was
moment.
it was a tough contest, for sure.
Yeah.
But we love it.
All the artists should be happy they were mentioned, especially in this segment.
And please feel free to go take a look at noagendaartgenerator.com. You can see all the pieces that are submitted. Many of them make it onto products that are available at noagendashops.com. Of course, you put them in the newsletter. Some people print them out, put them out. They're even talking about high res for people to do posters. It's a perfect example of value for value on the show that we love so much. You give us your time, your talent, your treasure, and just whatever you felt you're getting out of it. And we'd like to look at some of the executive producers and associate executive producers for episode 1283. These people came in at the top, and that's why we give them those credits and read their notes and dance like monkey boys.
There's no big names today. Not big names. There's no big numbers today, so we can get through this pretty quickly.
Okay.
Combat Rock of the Idaho Highlands, 33333 is our top donor. And he says he'd like a Manning money shot, aim and fist bump. WBT7 won't go away. It says WBT is what it says. It's WTC for your information. And Rebelizer out. Dear John and Adam, thank you for keeping the amygdala small during the current scamdemic. I've been busy hitting multiple family members in the mouth, none of whom have donated.
Uh-oh.
So the following douches need to be bagged. Julie. Douchebag. And Joe from Texas. Douchebag. Rita from Boise. Douchebag. And last but not least, my smoking hot wife, Christina. Douchebag. Since there is truly nothing like a dame. 130 of my donation is diverted to my wonderful better half to start her way to damehood. Well, she's not a douche, is she?
No.
So please de-douche her.
You've been de-douched.
Lastly, I'll end by shamelessly plugging my custom rifle building business. I specialize in precision hunting and target rifles of all and any kind. I can and have shipped my work all over the United States. I'm a one-man operation. I take the utmost pride in ensuring my customers receive the highest quality firearms possible for their monetary value.
Oh, I like this.
I can be gun makers.
Yeah.
Gun makers. I can be contacted through my website, benfieldprecision.com. It's Ben Field, Ben Field, like a dude named Ben, I guess. benfieldprecision.com, or on the Instagram at Benfield Precision. Any listener who uses my services, don't use the gram, please. Anyone who uses my services will receive a 10% discount if they can show proof of donation to the show of at least $50.
Hey, this is some nice stuff he's got here. These are pretty.
Have a clip.
These are really pretty.
Sure, guys who are into this are really make some dynamite.
My God. I don't have $3,000 for them, but holy crap, those things are pretty.
Combat Rock of the Idaho Highlands. Okay,
nice. All right, man. Thank you very much. And yes, and he didn't ask for karma or anything.
But he got these clips he wants.
We got him.
That's a sure enough money shot. Woo, Jesus. Woo, Lord. Look at that. That's a money shot. Kellyanne Conway is a money shot.
Amen. Fist bump.
WTC 7 won't go away.
India, Tango, Mike, stand by. 33, 33. Rebelizer out.
All right, there you go. For the Rebelizers, he's out.
Sharon B, 33717 in Austin, Texas. ITM, John and Adam. This is Sharon B from Austin, Texas. I'm grateful for you two. Thank you for your insight on demystifying the M5M, for shrinking my amygdala, and for making me laugh. I need a de-douching since this is my first donation.
You've been de-douched.
I got hit in the mouth by my friend Ignacio from Spain, who is a baron or some big deal. We met while traveling on the same tour group in Jordan back when we could travel, and I instantly knew we would be close buddies.
Oh, check that out.
That's pretty odd.
Why? You meet a no agenda person on the road, and you connect and you identify. That's not odd.
I think meeting a baron in Spain is unusual.
Yeah, well, this is true.
We listen to, although it might not be unusual if he's the guy that's keeping tabs on her. We listen to No Agenda on road trips, and I got addicted to you guys. He's a good man. I love to request that China is a-hole jingle and goat karma. Please, love and light to you both and the entire No Agenda community.
Yes,
and it's a nice story.
Welcome to the party.
Donald Trump, don't trust China. China is asshole.
You've got karma.
Onward to associate executive producer Taylor Butcher, who's in Lewistown, Montana, 23456. Taylor Butcher here with birthday donation for my dad and brother. They're on the list, who are avid listeners and are douchebags for not donating.
Douchebag.
There's two of them.
Douchebag.
Of course.
I can no longer stand idly by while Ross and Andrew Butcher propagate the formula while being douchebags. So, like always, Daddy's got to come in here and clean up after y'all. Podfather, I humbly request a double de-douching for Ross and Andrew. Okay, we'll give
let me get double de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
There's one, and that would be Ross. Here's Andrew.
You've been de-douched.
There you go.
Okay, well, this is the second time this has happened in this donation segment. I'm going to mention that I'm not a big fan of douchebagging somebody then de-douching them in the same note.
Oh, it's the same people? No, that's not cool. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Well, this happened earlier in this donation segment. I want to try to put an end to this before we have to make an executive decision.
Yeah, that would suck.
My brother
orders.
Andrew and I are electricians, and Ross is a county commissioner for Fergus County here in Montana, which is quickly becoming California because of the mass migration. Wait a minute. Birthday. Now, really?
Montana?
That's very interesting. I didn't know Californians are moving up there.
They're moving anywhere. Anywhere.
It's a plague.
Yeah.
Them Californians are buying up. Okay. Them Californians are buying up everything sight unseen.
They're not from Texas. They're from Montana.
And moving. But you know what? The Montanans have an accent themselves. It tends to be a cowboy accent. It's kind of in between here and there. I can't say where you can identify it as Texan. My Texas accent is not that good. I can only do a good Fort Worth accent, which is like talking like this between your teeth. That's the way they talk in Fort Worth.
That's Bush. That's Bush. That's right. That's
I can't stand it. To all people moving to Montana, please don't California my Montana. It's a bumper sticker. Can I get an Alex Jones friggin' frogs are gay, followed by little girl yay, followed by Biden full load? Thanks, guys. Butcher out.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Wow! I'm going to give you the whole load today.
Okie dokie.
Some Armenian chick is in next with $233.65.
Oh, wait. Does she know about the grapes? The grape wars?
She doesn't. I don't know. I don't see her saying anything here.
All right. What does she say?
I just turned 33. Lost my job and was hit in the mouth by my mother. Oh, well, that's sweet. Thank you both and all of the producers for the sanity and amygdala shrinkage. Can I get a de-douching for my mother and I?
You've been de-douched.
Happy 65th birthday, Mom.
Aw.
Linda, Tuesday, October 6th. Never mind the wine.
Oh.
Armenian cognac is the best.
Well, now that's something you would know about.
I've had Armenian cognac.
Yeah?
Armenian cognac, I first was introduced to it in Russia, and the Russians think it's the best outside of cognac itself. And there's Russian brandy and there's Armenian cognac, and if you have a choice, you don't want to drink the Russian brandy. Anyway, and it's now called Armenian brandy. It used to be called Armenian cognac. It's just fact. Anyway, it says, or brandy, as the European Union ruled that we must start calling it brandy. Pure speculation, but my mother mentioned Portland's history with building moratoriums when we spoke about the continued publicized protesting. Listening to grumpy old Benz, they mentioned Portland as the top city Americans are leaving. Nero didn't burn Rome, but he did have a Build Back Better plan. It took 6 months, but I finally started a new and improved job this past week. I request jobs. She's all over the map with this note. She's like a drunk driver. I request jobs karma to play it forward for anyone that needs it or pay it forward, and an eat kale for my carnivore mother.
Okay, we'll do a double shot for you.
Like eat kale, not donuts.
Oh, wait, she needed jobs. I'm sorry.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Now that I think about it, I think it's the kale obey that she wanted. Let me make sure I do that one, because that's a good one.
So, have more kale. Have more kale.
Yeah, this is the mind control. And bring in Dvorak.
Have more kale. Have more kale.
You will
have more
obey.
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 kale. Have more kale.
You will obey.
I mean, they should just, if they want to promote kale, have us do the commercials, people, okay? We get results here at the Curry Dvorak Consulting Group.
Yeah, we would do it. We'd do, actually, that'd be an easy one for us.
Well, done.
Melody Fugazotto is
Hi,
here from
there she
Gladstone.
is. Oh, there she
waiting
is.
for her husband to show up. 23333. The magic number showed up again as our order while the kiddo, Izzy, and I were at a dinner at the local Dominic's Casual Italian in nearby Parkville, Missouri. So there's wishing for great karma in general for the family. Thanks, Adam and John.
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, Dame Isabella, Dame Melody.
You've got karma.
From the Fugazotto family, whose husband has been away and not able to return home for, I think, since before his daughter was born, I think.
Well, David Fugazotto, our knight, and he's got a long title. He's a duke, I think, or a baron. 23232.
Wait. They're donating one after another?
That's what it looks like, yeah.
Oh, wow. Maybe they're sending messages. This is nice. You family, you.
You
family, you.
23232, and he's down a penny. Jingle, please. 33 is a magic number. Goat Karma, here's a donation from the proud husband and father whose wife's donation trigger is now tuned to fire upon contact with the magic number. It's
well done.
It's a beautiful thing. Also, Adam, Dame Melody told me last night that the recap of your experience traveling a few weeks ago gave her the confidence to fly for a fresh Irish dance competition in North Carolina last weekend.
Oh, good for you. How'd you do?
Oh, yeah, you want to fly now is the time.
Yeah,
and by the way, there's no incidences of corona being passed around on airplanes. They can't figure this out.
Huh.
Yeah, they can't come up with any numbers. They would love to, but
I'd just like to reiterate, as an airman who knows something about pressurized aircraft, etc., you're not sitting in circulated air. You're not breathing. The only thing that circulates for a second is your neighbor's farts, but that also goes away. The whole plane doesn't die from the fart.
Thank you for that insight.
It's so people can test it, so they can test it themselves. Have someone up front, fart, and then go back and see if you could smell it in the back. No, it goes away real quick.
Well, you could, yeah, but there's things as wind current, so the fart could get into the aisle, and then as you were walking toward the back, you could be carrying the fart with you.
If you fart while you're
a vortex,
well, if you fart while you're walking, if you're the walker, then obviously...
that would be good. So if you're going to... Okay, I think this is good news for people.
This is very good information,
so
people.
Because you don't want to disturb your neighbor because they'll be giving you the stink eye, literally. So just walk up and down the aisle when you're farting.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got information, man. New shit has come to light.
Literally.
Dame Isabella, she continues in her note, or he does actually. Dame Isabella came back with a couple of trophies through her last 2 first-place showings that she needs for advancement that eluded her.
Wow.
Please give her a shot of goat karma. Keep shrinking amygdalas across the fruited plains. Thank you for your courage.
33. That's the magic number. It's the magic number.
You've got karma.
Thank you, Duke. Sir Duke.
Daria Rackatini.
Is it Rackatini or Rackatine? I don't remember.
It could be Rackatine. Could be Rackatini.
Yeah.
Could be Rackatine.
It could be.
Could be Rakuten. Hi, John and Adam. Thanks for keeping us all sane and this all along with all this craziness. I will keep the notes short. My handsome husband, Baron Oleg Rackatine, is turning 40 today, October 4th. He is an amazing person, a loving husband, and the best dad to our 2 human resources. Happy birthday, Zaki. You are the best, and we all love you to the moon and back. No karma for jingles, just play Shut Up, Slave in Italian, followed by Science.
Shut up, slave. Stai zitto, schiavo.
Sorry.
The science is in. Science.
Got a full shot there.
Science. And that's our group of associate executive producers and executive producers for show 1283. Want to thank each and every one of them for helping make this show happen.
And these are official credits, which means they can be used and placed anywhere. People are looking. There's a lot of people who are afraid to go on productions. Productions are very expensive at the moment because you need all kinds of consultants. In fact, I think it goes as far to say that you are an executive or associate executive producer and Corona consultant of the No Agenda Show, episode 1283. Do you not think that we have consulted with them? Have they done that work?
They've done the work.
They've done the work, so you can put that there. It might help. Put it on your LinkedIn, anywhere where credits are recognized, because they do matter. But above all, thank you for helping us produce the No Agenda Show. It is the best podcast in the universe. And without people supporting it, it just would not continue. And we love doing this.
I can see gaffer and coronavirus consultant.
Oh, so executive producer, gaffer, and coronavirus consultant for the No Agenda Show, episode 1283. If you'd like to support us and grab one of those beautiful credits for yourself for the following program, go to
Dvorak.org/NA.
And always thank you for delivering this show with your time, your talent, and your treasure.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Order. Order.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
Boom, shaka, boom. We were talking about China. I got 2 quickie China bits, which is it's kind of interesting. Have you ever heard of the Quad?
The Quad Squad.
Yeah, the Quad is it's United States, Australia, India, and Japan. Together they form the Quad.
I don't know this.
Yeah, I think it may even be, let me just see, Quad USA. Well, I thought I had heard it, but I thought it was kind of like one of those thousands of sealed indictments type deals. But the Quad with the United States, now, of course, it has to be the Quad. I lost that page. Is a real thing. And, what do they call it now? This is from state.gov. Okay, that will be useful. Here it is from our State Department. U.S., Australia, India, Japan consultations known as the Squad. The Quad. I don't know why it's the Quad. It's not an acronym, but it's 4. Okay. So they're doing stuff, and the whole point of the Quad is to mess with China. So remember, it's the United States, it's Australia, it's India, and it's Japan. It's just a quick foreign report that I picked up since we don't get this kind of news in the Free West.
Beware China. The Quad has come into action because as India takes the Philippines away from China, Japan has begun working on Vietnam and Indonesia. China is being given some of the most decisive blows in the Indo-Pacific as the Quad, an informal strategic group comprising India, Japan, the US and Australia, seems to have made up its mind to go all out in containing China's influence. India and Japan, the two key Quad constituents, are now wooing ASEAN members in a bid to kick China out of Southeast Asia. First, India attempted to take the Philippines away from China by working towards a preferential trade agreement with Manila, and now Japan's Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga is eyeing two other ASEAN members, Vietnam and Indonesia, as a part of his first overseas trip after coming at the helm of affairs. Japan and India are thus turning the tide against China in Southeast Asia, which happens to be at the core of the Quad's Indo-Pacific strategy to check Beijing's growing influence. While the Southeast Asian nations like Vietnam, Indonesia and the Philippines are having common interests with the Quad, including their shared concerns against Chinese expansionism, belligerence and its salami-slicing tactics in the South China Sea, it seems that the ASEAN hasn't deserted China in the Quad's favor.
I like the salami-slicing tactics. I never heard that term before. China's salami-slicing tactics. So while Australia may be part of the Quad, there is an attack coming up from the south with New Zealand.
On September the 25th, a report released by Chinese global television network CGTN said that New Zealand and China will upgrade its free trade agreement, FTA, within the framework of the controversial Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. Gao Feng, a spokesperson from the Chinese Ministry of Commerce, reportedly announced the news at the virtual China-New Zealand Joint Committee of Trade and Economy meeting on September the 23rd. The upgrade aims to deepen cooperation in infrastructure, agriculture and tourism, Gao said. CGTN reported that New Zealand and China would also maintain communication on research, medicine and vaccine development. New Zealand and China concluded negotiations for the upgraded FTA in November 2019. It is yet to be passed by the New Zealand government and currently is at the stage where submissions from the public are being heard.
Sounds like Belt and Road to me has entered New Zealand.
New Zealand is either going to have to... New Zealand should probably be kicked out of Five Eyes.
Exactly.
Either that or they could be used by Five Eyes to spy on China in some funny way. But I get the sense that because they're a bunch of socialists.
Yes, the prime minister is kind of...
That they're good to go with China. They don't care about anything else. And that whack job prime minister is just a complete nut.
I haven't heard from, Sir Chris, I think, in New Zealand as well. I haven't heard from him. Wonder if everything's okay. You know, it's so small. Do they still have internet? Are they still connected? Are they still on the grid?
Hey, maybe
not. Mean, after all those earthquakes, New Zealand, I don't know, man. You know who's buying land in New Zealand is all the...
Californians.
Yeah, exactly. The douchebag rich Californians.
Yeah.
So maybe that's good. Maybe it's a good thing. They should have their Chinese friends there running the show. They probably like it. They think it's good. They can have dinners with Xi. Xi. Hey, Xi, come on over to the compound. China. Come over to the compound. Oh, okay. C-Mike says, Adam, my sister is a spy. Dominican nun in New Zealand. They still have internet. Okay. Just saying your sister's Dominican nun, we already understand she's a spy. You don't have to tell us. We're hip to that. We got it.
So I did a little research because I'm working on the new bingo cards.
Yes, this is a tough
that's
one.
coming up Wednesday, so I got to get on the stick. I finished the Harris card. I did.
Can you give us a few examples? Because she's easier.
Oh, it's on the other computer. I'm going to put it on the Mastodon probably tomorrow to get any more input.
So I can't. Okay, there's still room for input.
Yeah, you're going to have a hard time cracking through the tremendously well thought out card. But I decided that if you want to do some research on Harris, and I'm sure Pence is doing this, you got to go back to the debates when she got into a beef with Biden and, talking about the Democrat debates.
Yeah.
When she got into a beef with Biden, then she got into a real slam fest with Tulsi Gabbard. And I pulled some clips.
A slam fest, you tell me?
Butt slam!
Nice. It's a butt slam fest.
And so we have, I have 4 clips that are very entertaining.
Oh, I like this.
But they also, where I developed, you can develop the buzzwords for the Harris bingo card. But let's listen to this. So we can remind us what a jerk Harris is by listening to her. She got no votes. Nobody liked her. And she was blasted. You could even tell that the hosts of this debate were scamming her when they brought Tulsi Gabbard in.
Right.
They did just to slam her even more. But let's go with the early Harris debates, clip 1.
Senator Harris have been quite critical of Vice President Biden's policies on race, specifically on the issue of busing in the 1970s, having benefited from busing when you were a young child. Vice President Biden says that your current position on busing, you're opposed to federally mandated busing, that position is the same as his position. Is he right?
That is simply false. And let's be very clear about this. When Vice President Biden was in the United States Senate working with segregationists to oppose busing, which was the vehicle by which we would integrate America's public schools, had I been in the United States Senate at that time, I would have been completely on the other side of the aisle. And let's be clear about this. Had those segregationists their way, I would not be a member of the United States Senate, Cory Booker would not be a member of the United States Senate, and Barack Obama would not have been in a position to nominate him to the title he now holds. And so on that issue, we could not be more apart, which is that the vice president has still failed to acknowledge that it was wrong to take the position that he took at that time. Now, I would like to also talk about this conversation about Eric Garner, because I, too, met with his mother. And one of the things that we've got to be clear about is that this president of the United States, Donald Trump, while he has been in office, has quietly been allowing the United States Department of Justice to shut down consent decrees, to stop pattern and practice investigations. On that case, we also know that the Civil Rights Division, this is important, the Civil Rights Division of the United States Department of Justice said charges should have been filed, but this United States Department of Justice usurped, and I believe it is because that president did not want those charges to go forward, and they overrode a decision by the Civil Rights Division of the United States Department of Justice. Under my administration, the Civil Rights Division will reign, and there will be independent investigations.
Vice President Biden, I want to give you a chance to respond to what Senator Harris just said.
Okay, so she steamrolls everybody. She runs overtime, and this is important.
It was dumb. What she said was incomprehensible. She's just rattling off something she memorized. It wasn't all that great. Wasn't that important?
No, it wasn't great at all. She's no good.
Last night on SNL, at the end of that whole opening sequence, Maya, what's her name? She's no longer
Maya Angelou.
Yeah, Maya Angelou. No, not Maya Angelou. Yeah, Maya Angelou was playing Harris. No, the Maya Rudolph. That's her name.
Yeah.
And so she comes out and she says, well, what I'm going to give you is a WAP, a woman as president. And until it's time for that, I'll just be hot VP in charge. And it was clearly written. The whole bit was written to show that Trump's an old idiot, Biden's an old idiot, and really Kamala Harris is the way to go. That was the message from NBC, Lorne Michaels, Saturday Night Live.
Now you just made my stomach turn. All right, here we go. Clip 2.
Vice President Biden, I want to give you a chance to respond to what Senator Harris just said.
When Senator Harris was the Attorney General for 8 years in the state of California, there were 2 of the most segregated school districts in the country, in Los Angeles and in San Francisco. And she did not, I didn't see a single solitary time she brought a case against them to desegregate them. Secondly, she also was in a situation where she had a police department when she was there that in fact was abusing people's rights. And the fact was that she in fact was told by her own people, that her own staff, that she should do something about and disclose to defense attorneys like me that you in fact have been, the police officer did something that did not give you information would exculpate your client. She didn't do that. She never did it. And so what happened? Along came a federal judge and said, enough, and he freed 1,000 of these people. If you doubt me, Google 1,000 prisoners freed, Kamala Harris.
Thank you, Vice President Biden. Senator Harris, your response?
This is simply not true. And as Attorney General of California, where I ran the second largest Department of Justice in the United States, second only to the United States Department of Justice, I am proud of the work we did, work that has received national recognition for what has been the important work of reforming a criminal justice system and cleaning up the consequences of the bills that you passed when you were in the United States Senate for decades. It was the work of creating one of the first in the nation initiatives around re-entering former offenders and getting them jobs and counseling. I did the work as Attorney General of putting body cameras on special agents.
Now that I hear this, I'm kind of excited about this debate. I have no idea how the former radio guy, Vice President Pence, is going to, because it is, have we ever seen him raise his voice, get a little testy? Nothing ever. I mean, for Kamala Harris, let me be clear, these are all pretty obvious ones that she's going to throw out there. But Pence, does he have any comebacks? He was given this role, he plays it perfectly, but he seems devoid.
He's rehearsing as we speak.
He seems devoid of personality.
They're going to be using what I'm playing now as their base because she's argumentative. She runs overtime. She does all these things. So let's go. It gets a little better because they bring in Tulsi. This is review.
It's going to get better. This is the worst. This is horrible to listen to this.
Body cameras on special agents in the state of California.
I want to bring in Congresswoman Gabbard. Congresswoman Gabbard, you took issue with Senator Harris confronting Vice President Biden at the last debate. You called it a, quote, false accusation that Joe Biden is a racist. What's your response?
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system.
Nice.
That is disproportionately negatively impacting black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. That would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris, your response?
I kind of like that she basically said that she enslaves people. That's pretty good, Tulsi. Way to go.
Well, her family was slave owners.
Of course they were.
Let's don't forget that little tidbit.
Yeah, of course they were. And she, and is Tupac on the debate card?
Not yet.
Okay, I think Tupac may have to come up in the debate.
I don't think so.
But she's still lying about him. I'll play the clip after you're done.
Okay, well, let's play this one.
This one being number 4?
Yeah.
Senator Harris, your response?
As the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system of a state of 40 million people, which became a national model for the work that needs to be done. And I am proud of that work. And I am proud of making a decision to not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body and give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform. That is why we created initiatives that were about re-entering former offenders and getting them counseling. It is why, and because I know that criminal justice system is so broken, that I am an advocate for what we need to do to not only decriminalize but legalize marijuana in the United States.
I want to bring Congresswoman Gabbard back in. Your response?
The bottom line is, Senator Harris, when you are in a position to make a difference and an impact in these people's lives, you did not. And worse yet, in the case of those who are on death row, innocent people. You actually blocked evidence from being revealed that would have freed them until you were forced to do so. There is no excuse for that. And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
Whoa, you got butt slammed!
Senator Harris.
My entire career, I have been personally opposed to the death penalty, and that has never changed. And I dare anybody who is in a position to make that decision, to face the people I have faced, to say, I will not seek the death penalty. That is my background. That is my work. I am proud of it. I think you can judge people by when they are under fire, and it's not about some fancy opinion on a stage, but when they're in the position to actually make a decision, what do they do? When I was in the position of having to decide whether or not to seek a death penalty on cases I prosecuted, I made a very difficult decision that was not popular to not seek the death penalty. History shows that, and I am proud of those decisions.
Senator Harris, thank you very much.
Now, you using Audacity? Because that's pretty good for Audacity.
Yeah. So fancy, she says to put her down. You're just a fancy opinion on a stage. Fancy opinion on a stage is what she says. That was her great comeback. I do want to play one little snippet. It's a little 12-second. This is Harris' short snippet, just to show you that she uses this term a lot.
And let's be clear. There is no vaccine for racism. We've got to do the work.
Well, I have good news. In a long line of presidential or vice presidential candidates we have had on this show and have covered throughout our almost 13-year history. Of course, we started with the children, and the children have always had something to say.
Don't eat me, Hillary Clinton.
And then, of course, we got...
Don't eat me, Bo Biden. You're scary, so scary.
And luckily today we have...
Don't enslave me, Kamala.
It's so desperate sounding.
Don't enslave me, Kamala.
Yeah, it's a beauty. It's a gem.
That's C. Mike's, one of his 18 children.
She's got a career ahead of her as an actress. Give her a SAG card now and put her to work.
It's so good. I can't believe we haven't played that more.
Well, it's coming into vogue.
That is very good. I just have two little quick Kamala, since I've been holding on to them and we've been doing other stuff. So this Tupac Shakur, she lied like she was in school before the album even came out. And she said, "Oh yeah, I was smoking weed, listening to Tupac." She was doing a Zoom interview on where CNN, I think, or maybe MSNBC, with Angela Rye. Angela Rye, I don't like her at all. And Kamala is so dumb. Just listen.
And then best rapper alive, Tupac. He's not alive. He lives.
Says best rapper alive. She says Tupac. Now Angela Rye is going to try and save her. Going to save her from this debacle.
I gotta hold on a second. I have to relish this.
You ready?
She's asked, who's the best rapper alive?
Yes.
And everybody, including old white men, know that the main thing about Tupac is he was good in his era, but he's dead. Everybody knows this.
Hey, don't group me with the old white men just yet.
But still, the hip Kamala or whatever she wants to call herself, Harris, thinks he's the best rapper alive. And okay, you started from the scratch again because I want to hear it again.
And then best rapper alive, Tupac. He's not alive. You say he lives on.
Not alive. I know. I keep doing that.
You said it. Listen, West Coast girls think Tupac lives on. I'm with you. So Tupac, keep going.
That's a good save.
I keep doing that. Who would I say? I mean, there's so many. I mean,
she doesn't know any of them.
There are some that I would not mention right now because they should stay in their lane. But
yeah. That's a slam at Kanye. He has to stay in his lane, not acting black. Kanye. That's what she's saying there.
There are some that I would not mention right now because they should stay in their lane.
Better get back in the black lane with me, the black lady.
But others, I don't know what that means.
By the way,
yeah,
there are some compilations of this. I kept putting them aside. I never put one together. But Kamala's she's worse than Hillary with that cackle. She laughs and laughs and laughs, and very often at the wrong moments, and and it's a cackle, and it's just, I think it's worse than Hillary's.
Well, let's check. We have, oh wait, that's not actually Hillary.
That's one of them. No?
I thought we had, we had that one a couple of times. We have Kasich. And we have Rachel Maddow.
Oh, that's how it works.
Okay, now let me see if we can get a spot here in Kamala.
You said it.
Back a little.
I keep doing that.
You said it.
Yeah, there's some songs with her cackle. I think we might have had one. I don't know where it is.
There's so many. I mean, there are some that I would not mention right now because they should stay in their lane. But others, I
don't know what that means. I want to know who one of those are.
Keep going. Keep moving.
Okay,
Keep moving, Angela.
All right. That was not supposed to be a scumper either.
Well, she could have done another one, and it was clearly on her mind. This bothered her so much. She was so bothered that she had messed this one up, and she couldn't come up with any other names other than Kanye was just living rent-free, as they say, in her head. So she had to stay in your lane. Maybe she meant, stay in your lane, get out of my head, Kanye. What are you doing? You black man, you can't be... So when she was talking about...
No, you got it right the first time.
So when she was doing a speech or answering some questions about Ruth Bader Ginsburg... This came out of her face.
She was part of our culture. Yes, we wear those notorious B.I.G. T-shirts with a lot of pride.
So, Notorious B.I.G. was a rapper who was also dead.
She said B.I.G.?
Instead of RBG. Yeah. Yeah. Listen again.
Yes. We wear those notorious B.I.G. T-shirts with a lot of pride.
So that was from Notorious B.I.G., not RBG. That's what she's consumed with. She's consumed with the mistake with Angela Rye, and then she messes up her brain so bad that she messes up RBG with B.I.G.
Wow, those are good catches.
That was the keeper. She got that.
Wow. She did a good job on that one. That's a dynamite catch.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have caught that in a million years.
Don't enslave me, Kamala.
Oh, my goodness.
It's so plaintive.
Plaintive is exactly.
Plaintive.
That's right. Let me see. Oh, just to go back to the debates for a moment. Chris Wallace, who I really do blame for a lot of just how it went wrong, he's so full of crap. So here he was on Bill Hammer's show. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sitting at home watching Fox, but people send me links to clips. And so he blamed this thing going off the rails, which is even arguable if it went off the rails. It was just not pleasant to watch, but I don't think it was off the rails.
A lot of people thought it was pleasant in an entertaining way to watch. I wasn't squirming in my seat watching it.
It made me not anxious, but just it was uncomfortable. And funny thing, and I've watched it so many times now because I've watched for different clips that people check this out. He said this. I was going looking for the Jew comment. All of this stuff. A lot of good things were said by both. It was just the interruptions somehow overpowered it. And by the way, apparently, according to some analysis from sound engineers in the Sound Engineers Reddit group, the president's microphone was consistently 3 dBs lower. 3 dBs, which is quite a bit.
That's a lot.
Yeah, than Biden's microphone. Anyway, so here's Chris Wallace blaming it all on the president.
Here's what happened. We began the first segment on the Supreme Court. They each got their 2 minutes, and they both obeyed in that particular case. Then Biden started to answer a question, and the president started interrupting him. And my initial reaction was, this is great, because so often these debates become parallel news conferences where one candidate answers the question to him, the other candidate answers the question to him. So when the president started engaging with Biden, I thought, we're going to have a real debate here. It became clearer and clearer over time that this was something different, and that the president was determined to try to butt in and throw Joe Biden off. You gave your statistics. I saw another Fox analysis that indicates the president interrupted either Biden's answers or my questions a total of 145 times, which is way more than 1 a minute. And he bears the primary responsibility for what happened on Tuesday.
So he...
this is nonsense.
Okay, so it just bothers me, this guy. And because I know that it just wasn't like that. And then Biden interrupted him. In fact, now what Chris Wallace said was Joe Biden was answering a question and Trump interrupted. And that's what he said. All right, let me just see if I can find it.
Here's what happened. Reaction started interrupting him. My initial answer a question, and the president started interrupting him. And my initial...
Okay, so the vice president was answering a question, and the president started interrupting him. No, the first question, the president answered for 2 minutes. Joe Biden answered for 2 minutes. Then and he ended his statement, and I timed it. It was 2 minutes. Actually, I think a couple of seconds over. And then the minute he started into what I guess would be the open discussion, Trump interrupts. And it's not like really a super interruption, but then what Chris Wallace did, I think really is a mistake as a moderator. He made a grave error where Biden had just spoken for 2 minutes, goes into open discussion, Trump interrupts, Wallace says, stop interrupting, and gives it back to Biden, who had just been speaking for 2 minutes, and then says it's open discussion. I know I'm hammering this in the last time because this guy's full of shit, and he made mistakes. He could have saved it. Here, listen.
And so it's just not appropriate to do this before this election. If he wins the election and the Senate is Democrat or Republican, then he goes forward. If not, we should wait until February. All right.
There aren't 100 million people with pre-existing conditions. As far as the say is concerned, the people already had their say. Okay, Justice Ginsburg said very powerfully, very strongly, at some point 10 years ago or so, she said a president and the Senate is elected for a period of time, but a president's elected for 4 years. We're not elected for 3 years. I'm not elected for 3 years. So we have the Senate, we have a president.
He's elected to the next
during
election.
That period of time.
First interruption.
During that period of time, we have an opening. I'm not elected for 3 years. I'm elected for 4 years. And the 100 million people, Joe, the 100 million people is totally wrong. I don't know where you got that number. The bigger problem that you have is that you're going to extinguish 180 million people with their private health care that they're very
That's
happy
simply
with.
not true.
Well, you're certainly going to socialist. You're going to socialist.
We're now into, gentlemen, we're now into open discussion.
Open discussion.
Open discussion. Yes, I agree. Go ahead, Vice President.
Number one,
I mean, come on.
Yeah, Trump was talking. Why should we go ahead, Vice President? He's interrupting.
That's the first interruption of the night. It's just not true. And he should have just let it go.
Yeah, it was fine.
Biden should have just waited and said the way Trump did it. He waited and then he gave his whole thing. Yeah, you're
right. I mean, this whole thing. Now, I have one clip from this thing. I have another clip somebody sent me. It's one of our producers. And really, the video is even better than this. And I should give you the video and you should post it.
Okay.
There's a very short clip where Trump is talking to Chris and trying to get his attention. And Trump is actually multitasking. So he is listening to Biden. You have to play this clip. This is a very short clip. It's only 9 seconds. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to play it twice to really hear it. Trump is talking, I'm going to give you what's going on so you can kind of visualize it. Trump is talking away, and Biden's over there interrupting, talking over Trump. They're talking over each other. And Biden says, that was point number 1. Point number 2, and then he says point number 3.
Yes.
Without giving point number 2. And Trump, without missing a beat, waves at Biden, not looking at him, but just waving him off and saying, no, you're still on point number 2. And it was remarkable.
Chris, wait.
Number 2.
Chris.
Number 3.
They said it would take... No, you're on number 2.
No.
Chris. They said it would take a miracle to bring back...
Like he has eyes in the side of his head.
It was the damnedest thing I've ever seen.
That's
Play it one more time.
Reptilian move, man. That's reptilian.
Number 1.
Chris, wait.
Number 2.
Chris.
Number 3.
They said it would take... No, you're on number 2.
No.
It's like, you know what this is? He flubbed his line. Trump's doing his lines. The whole thing was scripted.
This is what it looks like.
Chris,
This is what it looks like when you think about it that way.
Yeah.
No, you didn't get down to point number 2. You're already on point number 3. Get back to the script.
Yeah. Scroll the prompter back. Let me hear that again.
And then the best part is the video where Biden is really befuddled because he knows he skipped point number 2. Yeah. And then he starts mumbling to himself.
Number 1.
Chris, wait.
Number 2.
Chris.
Number 3.
They said it would take... No, you're on number 2.
No.
Chris. They said it would take a miracle to bring back...
This guy, he says. That was like I love the animated No Agenda Dame Jennifer put together.
Yeah.
With that was so good.
It is what it is. Well, it is what it is because you are who you are. That's why it is.
I mean, if Biden wins, it'll certainly be a couple months worth of fun for us until he. Until he dies. When he hears that cackle, man, the hairs on the back of his neck got to go. Whoa! You hear it coming. Good observation by one of our producers that Biden looking straight at the camera during the debate, which he did creepily several times. Which Jim Carrey also did a great job of making fun of. Those are all for political ads. They're all being used in the ads now. So they clearly told him, and when you say this, look right in the camera. Look past the teleprompter.
Oh, that makes nothing but sense.
Yeah, look through the teleprompter. And I love it when you guys tell me about your kids, how everything is going with them. We've had children hitting trees. They're so angry at Joe Biden because of political ads. And this is from Chad, who says, hey, the story of the kid in Wisconsin cracks me up, and I can relate. Last year on a road trip, my then 5-year-old, out of the blue, shouts from the back seat, "Ah, I hate you, Mike Bloomberg." And it turns out, for him too, the ads have been popping up all over his YouTube shows. Fast forward to...
right. These idiots, they don't have any control over their ad placement.
Fast forward to today, and both of my kids, now 6 and 9, have all of their YouTube shows covered in John Ossoff ads, both for and against. They absolutely hate the man. The youngest screams, "Middle finger!" at the TV every time he comes on. This has got to be fraud by Google and YouTube. This cannot be a part of any political campaign's media buy to terrorize 5-year-olds who are waiting for their children's show to come on. I think there's violations here. You cannot. You may be showing horrible scenarios. Trump killed people to 5-year-olds. Stop. That's got to stop. Someone has to call them on this. That's out of control.
We're doing that. We're calling them on it, but I don't think there's anything. I think it's just them. I think it's their algos. I don't think they care. They sold the ad. It's going for general use. All the stuff is brand safe. Don't worry about where it goes. And they ended up in front of kids programming, and next thing you know, the kids hate these guys.
I think that they can't.
I don't think they're doing it on. I think it's just lazy. It's the way all these. They don't have anybody working there. There's nobody in customer support. They're running on shoestrings and algos. It's just lazy.
They're running on shoestrings and algos.
Yeah.
That's a T-shirt. No Agenda shop. No Agenda Nation runs on shoestrings and algos. I think it's wrong. It's morally wrong. You're exposing children, especially with negative ads. You're exposing them to hate and lies. All the ads are lies. And you're making your children mad. This is not a good way to involve them in the political process. This is not Civics 101 for your child. We need a snappy slogan so people can express their outrage.
Hi, kids, tell your mom to vote for me.
Now, if they were doing that, then I would have respect. I would have a lot of respect. Sir Mark here in Austin has been following a very interesting trial about 700,000 ballots that have been harvested. And the fun thing is that the person who did this, who has been running the program in Harris County, that's Houston, was actually Biden's campaign guy for Texas on August 26th. So, yes.
Wow, hard to believe.
How does that even work? I think there's always been fraud and shenanigans. Do you think it's going to be any more than usual?
I think both sides do, and I think it might be more because it's been telegraphed, but. California, it's taken over the place. That's why it's just an all Democrat state now.
Mm-hmm.
And California's got to be the biggest scam state in this whole. And and they do it at all levels. They steal money from the taxpayers. We have the whole thing's just a ripoff.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And Kamala comes from California. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Let me see. Do I have anything else? Chris Wallace debate.
I have one clip that might be worth playing.
Okay.
This is a local story. This is elected officials. We did a clip. Remember years ago we did this clip. It was a woman that was the secretary. She's elected official in Walnut Creek, and the clip's still around. You played it recently, like about 6 months ago. But as this woman, she got elected, and her job was to be sergeant at arms for the city council or something, and she had to take the minutes, and she never did. She said, "I don't know why I'm taking the minutes. It's dumb." And so, you were actually elected to office to take the minutes. That is your job. I don't know. I just think it's stupid. I'm not. I'm not doing it. And this kind of thing is the stupidity of certain millennials when they get into office. They don't understand their responsibilities or anything whatsoever. So now in Washington State, there's this one, I think she's a city council member, a woman, who's like so dumb that she's promoting. Play this clip. The elected official promotes Molotov cocktails.
And before I play it, I can't find anything under Walnut Creek. I'm trying to think what the hell you were talking to.
May have been Concord, too.
Okay.
Well, Molotov cocktail attacks against police officers surge in this region. One council member out of Snohomish County, she seemingly promoted more of it. Megan Dunn is a Democrat from Everett, and she posted on her personal Facebook page last week a stitching of a Molotov cocktail. And the text accompanying it read, "Be the light you want to see in the world." In her Facebook post, she said the stitching was, quote, a good reminder. A good reminder of what? Using Molotov cocktails? Joining me on the line is Sergeant James Collier. He's the president of the Everett Police Officers Association. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for having us.
So when you first saw this post, what was your reaction?
Well, it was shocking, and
shocking.
We had to look at it a couple times. I saw it on social media, posted on some other sites, and it was shocking.
Why was it so shocking to you? What did you take out of it?
Well, I mean, I've heard that quote before, and I think it's a bit of it's taken from a Gandhi comment, and it was instead of having a shining light or a candle or a sunlight in there to be that shining light in the world, there was this Molotov cocktail. We've seen our friends in law enforcement have these thrown at them at these riots. We have friends that have actually been injured. We've seen it in Portland and Seattle, and it was shocking. It was tough to see that coming from an elected official.
Now, she put out a statement, Megan Dunn, in which she says it wasn't supposed to be a threat of violence. She said and this part is kind of bizarre to me, she did not connect the Molotov cocktail imagery to police violence. Do you buy that?
So when you look at, in that post, she said a counterculture cross-stitch art project. And my belief with, in the definition of counterculture is, we reject or oppose dominant values and behavior in society. Well, so this counterculture of violence isn't acceptable.
Who are these people? I mean, seriously.
Baffling.
And that just, well, yeah.
They're all a bunch of weenies. It's not like she would ever throw a Molotov cocktail herself or even be involved in something where they were flying back and forth. But, it's kind of cool. There's just this peer group.
Well, I have something as stupid.
It's beyond me.
I have something just as stupid, which could only come from Austin City Council, who is all in on Black Lives Matter, Inc. and defund the police, which is, actually happening.
Mental health funding in Austin got a boost today. City Council voted to allocate more than $4 million to 2 different programs.
The bulk of the funding, roughly $4 million, will help pay for an expanded mobile crisis outreach team. That team will be made up of first responders who try to get to people experiencing a mental health crisis within 10 to 15 minutes. Its goal is to avoid jail bookings and admissions to emergency rooms and to provide short-term resources to help stabilize people in need. The new funding will increase staffing to ensure 24/7 access and also pay for 500 tablet devices to first responders. Austin City Council member Greg Kassar says the hope is that 85 to 90% of these calls will no longer need a police officer to respond.
The really important goal here is that we'll be able to respond to well over 5,000 calls away from traditional 911 response into trained mental health first responders.
We're thinking that we have mental health first responders to assist our police officers to be there to make some of the calls about what level of force is necessary, how to
Hold on. He's coming at me. What level of force is necessary? Can I just get a level? A 3? Is it a 3 just I show the taser or I do the taser? You fight idiots.
Escalate situations.
You stop this for a second. You pick it up. But I wonder how many police are out there who say to themselves, you want to send a social worker for a domestic violence call? Hey, go for it.
Or what is shown on the television and telescreen as a mental health episode when clearly someone's in a delirious state. What is it called again?
Delirious state?
No. The delirium. What George Floyd actually had. Oh, God, I'm blanking on it. Troll will know somewhere. But, someone who's, it seemed, they said, they had to put a bag over his head and he had a mental problem. No. It was, it's the drugs. It's the.
Drugged up.
Yeah. Gosh, I can't.
Yeah, well, send a social worker over there and let them spit on the social worker and do whatever they have to do.
Yeah, good luck.
Until the way they should do it is my thinking. If I was going to take this approach, let's say I was taking this seriously, I tell the police, look, we're going to send a social worker. The police will think this is hilarious.
Yeah.
We're going to send a social worker in to de-escalate the situation because you guys are incompetent at doing this. It's obvious, but we're going to take some of that money and give it to some social worker, and they're going to be part of our department, and they're going to go in there and they're going to de-escalate as best they can, and they will escalate only if necessary, and then you'll get called in. Well, can you imagine?
Excited delirium. Thank you, Goat, in the troll room.
Excited delirium, yes. So you're going to end up with, I think this will be fun to watch in Austin.
But by the way, anyone, we don't promote this enough, but we have a lot of good search engines, and bingit.io, I actually typed just delirium into the search box and it showed me excited delirium as well. If you want to know anything no agenda related, that's the place to go.
Calls about what level of force is necessary, how to de-escalate situations, that we can make the city safer for all of us.
He said from his penthouse at the W Hotel.
Another
where he's got bodyguards.
Yeah.
$7,000 in new funding.
Now, this is funny. As a tag, so we got $4 million for all this. No more cops needed for that. And then the tag story.
Safer for all of us.
Another $137,000 in new funding will go to the Homeless Outreach Street Team. It connects people with services to help find stability and housing.
Seriously? So the biggest problem we have in Austin, and where a lot of mental workers need to go, where the police is involved, is with people experiencing homelessness. I mean, it's becoming epidemic now.
Well, wait. Did she say civility? What did she say? What was her tagline? She said,
I don't know. Let's check.
De-escalate situations that we can make the city safer for all of us.
Another $137,000 in new funding will go to the Homeless Outreach Street Team. It connects people with services to help find stability and housing.
Stability. Okay. So it's people walking along saying, hey, you can go over there, or you could go over there. And only $137,000, $4 million for this mythical project, of which 500 iPads are being purchased. That's probably most of the money.
Oh, brother. They're going to be sold on the black market.
It's $500,000, just for...
Hey, we can make some money reselling these iPads.
Yeah, it's really quite sad. It's quite sad.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
Yes, and we do have a few people to thank for show 1283, I believe.
Yeah.
Heading to show 1300. Starting with Elosha Wetton, I believe, in Spearwood, Washington. 180, exactly. And she says thank you. Sir Louis Villarreal in Mercedes, Texas. That is a relationship to Villarreal in Mercedes. $150.
Thank you.
And he wants it on also on behalf of Dame Pill Pusher. Tony Dockery in Highland, Indiana, 100.
Hey, that is my sister-in-law. All right. Check him out producing. You met Tony.
Tony Dockery. Yeah, Tony Dockery. I met her.
Yeah.
Highland, Indiana, 100.
Thank you.
Sir John Robinet, 100. Sir Fac Bass in Houston, Texas, 100. Joseph Hatch in Springfield, Virginia. Got a birthday and maybe a knighting or something coming up. And Springfield, Virginia with 100.
This is Joseph, and he says, just finished with the Kaiserslautern, Germany, Brews and Stogies meetup. Yes, he sent us a meetup report, which I have for you. It was like a party. It occurred to me, I haven't checked my accounting lady. Lo and behold, I surpassed the baronet level some time back. See accounting attached. Please upgrade me at your convenience. And he's added to the birthday list as well.
Philip Kim in San Francisco comes in with 100. He has a note. You might want to read, see if there's anything here we need to read. He says Regeneron stock will skyrocket faster than Elon Musk's rockets.
Yeah, thanks for the tip.
We're
probably late.
Yeah,
probably
day
late
and
to the party.
dollar short.
Yeah, about a week late.
Sir Kevin McLaughlin, Duke of Luna, lover of America and boobs in Locust.
Boobs.
In North Carolina, 8008. And Sir Herb Lamb with 8008 in Sugar Hill, California.
Georgia.
Sir Endernaut in Williamsville, New York, 8008. Baron Mark Tanner, 80 in Whittier, California. He comes in twice a month. Now it's up to 80. Huh. We'll see how long that continues. Joe Weish in Miami, Florida. There's a must-read note, which I obviously don't have here in front of me.
Sack of seven. 77.
I'll go get the note and read it in this last part of the show.
Okay.
After we get it's over on the desk, I think, I hope. It's quite interesting, though. Sir Gott Nate in Sebastopol, California, 6969. Jeff Burich in Queen Creek, Arizona, 5510. Sir Quistan in Blyton, Great Britain, UK, 5510. Harry Pilgrim, 5510 in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Sir Tom Dari in DeForest, Wisconsin, also 5510. Salem Madigan, 5045. He's actually in Tomball, Texas. Tomball. Brad Horwitz, 5001. Dame Jennifer Buchanan, our fabulous Dame Jennifer in Charleston, South Carolina. She finally got up to 10,000 subscribers.
And she says, in the morning, 1,000 thank yous for the newsletter. Shout out towards Animated No Agenda. I was so tickled, big time, LGY. Subscriptions are climbing. This is a birthday donation for our very good friend Paul Quinn, who is having a significant birthday ending in O on Tuesday the 6th. Much love, Big Karma from Dame Jennifer and Sir Buck of the 2112.
Michael Janoski in Lindora, Pennsylvania. These are all $50 donors now, starting with Michael Janoski, and then David Beach in San Antonio. Douglas Ingstrom is on the list. Trevor Kelly in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Dan Scalise in Vernon, Connecticut. Matthew Januszewski, Sir Matthew to you, in Chicago. James Sherameta in Napanoch. It's probably pronounced Napanoch or Napanoch.
I like Napanoch.
It's something. It says Napanoch.
It does, Napanoch.
But I'm sure it's Napanoch or some crazy thing. Who knows? It's a local pronunciation. I'm not a local. Bradley Ledden, Andrew Oxenham in Knoxville, Tennessee. Sir Brett Farrell in Oklahoma City. Okay. Sir Brian Watson in Raleigh, North Carolina. And last but not least, Janice Olver, Olver. Apparently, somebody decided to correct the spelling, or the spell checker did it, but it's actually Olver in Edmonds, Washington, 50. I want to thank all these folks for being the producers of show 1283, I think.
Yes, and we missed a dedouching here for Trevor Kelly, who says, I've been hitting my friends in the mouth. Please give me a dedouching and keep up the incredible deconstruction.
You've been dedouched.
And yes?
Before we continue, I do have the note from Joe.
Okay.
Joe Weish.
Yes.
Because this is interesting. Excuse me. Quick message from Miami. A surge has apparently left Miami and South Florida. It seems to be doing rather well down here. There's normalcy that has slowly been put in place. Of course, the mask issue still continues, but I think most people are just going along with the program. Here it is. John, I have one question for you. I believe I heard more than on one occasion, months ago, you stated emphatically that Kamala Harris would not be the running mate of Joe Biden, basically because the female politicals in the Democrat Party would not stand with her or back her. I am rather certain that Adam made an entry into his special book, Nothing, noting your statements. I hate to call you out on this. Can you have Adam? No, he doesn't have to check anything. I will admit it. I wrote it up in a number of cases. I was under a complete wrong impression that there was no way they were going to pick Kamala Harris. So I don't need to be called out. I will just admit it, that I was wrong. Wrong.
Aren't you glad you got that note from your desk? There's a reason you left it there. You take that criticism. My goodness. Now you've given up on the red book, but I'm maintaining mine. And when I heard Trump had the Rona, I was kind of disappointed. Like, oh crap, because we had the entry that you said there will be no debates, and I said, well, we had a debate. You said, it says debates, and there may be no debates.
Yeah,
that was the most disappointing thing. So then we had our 45 best wishes, and those aren't mentioned here, right? Those names are
no, they're all still under the number that we mentioned. People, but I will say there's a lot of people that sent a $45 into, which will be listed on a not a card but a note.
Let's put it this way: a lot more people sent money for a get well card for the president than for Mother's Day.
Yes, as a matter of fact, we have. I don't want to. That's one of the reasons I'm not interested in really just bragging about the number of people. There's a lot of people that sent the $45, and then we'll continue this for the next show, and then it's over, and I'll send the card in immediately.
I think it's
not a card, but
I think it's just funny. People like their moms much less.
Yeah, there's no comparison.
Oh my goodness!
And this is one of our, we do these kind of gimmicky things once in a while to just a fundraiser is what it is for the show. But at the same time, it's kind of cool to send a get well thing and get well soon. And thanks for all the well wishes going the other way, which is toward the show. But yes, we have a bunch of people. I want to thank them all for donating $45 for this promotion.
And I just got a text from Don Jr. Hey, Adam, it's Don Jr. This is from 88022 is his number.
Oh, he heard about the $45 promotion?
Yes. He says, my father shared a message with you earlier. Let's make America great again. We're only $75,000 short of our daily goal. Donate now. So he's got no shame, man. They just my dad's doing okay, but we need a little more money. Gotta love American politics. Thank you to our producers here. Very kind of you. And naturally to the 45s, but also anyone who comes in under the $50 level, which we do not mention for reasons of anonymity, but also a lot of people on our sustaining donations. These are regular donations that come back. There's a lot of different things. You can pretty much fill it out yourself, but you can do $33.33 for a week or a month, whatever it is. We appreciate it. And thank you for helping us produce the best podcast in the universe, your No Agenda Show.
Dvorak.org/NA. It's your birthday. Oh, No Agenda.
Man, it's already the 4th of October. Can you believe it? It's the 4th? Yeah, the 4th of October. Here's the birthday list. Taylor Butcher says happy birthday to his dad, Ross, and brother Andrew, both on the same day. Daria Rakitin, her handsome husband, Baron Oleg Rakitin, turns 40 years old today. Some Armenian chick says happy birthday to her mother, Linda, 65 on October 6th. Dame Jennifer from Animated No Agenda says happy birthday to Paul Quinn. His celebration is on the 6th as well. And Joseph Hatch will be celebrating on the 14th of October. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah.
And we do not have any title changes because Joseph Hatch goes straight to the top. He had not been a knight at all, so he becomes a baronet. He's an insta-baronet. You see.
Oh, it's an insta-baronet.
Insta-baronet, exactly. So I'm bringing...
Well, how could it be an insta? It wasn't... Oh, he just skipped knighthood is what happened.
Yeah, he wasn't knighted, exactly.
Yeah, it wasn't knighted. Okay.
Let me show you that blade again. That's what I got with me. What do you got?
I got the big one.
Show it.
Look at this. Beat this chump.
All right, up at the podium, please. Actually, we got a knight and a dame, Katie Hilmer-Reed. Katie, you are welcome here on the podium, along with Joseph Hatch. Both of you have supported the No Agenda Show in the amount of $1,000 or more. In fact, Joseph went above and beyond. And Katie, well, you were gifted part of this. This is beautiful. So we have you here. Allow me to pronounce the Dame Katie, Dame of the Unfinished Knitting Projects, and Sir Baronet Venti. Yes, for you we have Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay. We got Harlots and Haldol, Redheads and Ryes. We got Beer and Blunts, Geishas and Sake, Vodka and Vanilla, Bong Hits and Bourbon, Ginger Ale and Gerbils, or the Mutton and Mead. We know you love it. And thank you for supporting the No Agenda Show. And go over to noagendanation.com/rings. Eric the Shield will take care of you and get everything set up as soon as possible. And, yes, it's time to get into our meetups. That's what it is.
No Agenda Meetups.
A couple of meetup reports. First from South Carolina. Well, that was hosted by Katie, I guess. Adam and John, the Charleston, South Carolina meetup at the Holy City Brewery last night was great. Perfect weather and a turnout from around 12, including David and his family from Goldsboro, North Carolina, Scott from Columbia, and Rusty from Conway. Good conversation with no triggering. And sent a picture of her human resource having fun with our heads on sticks. Yes. When we were kids, we had funs with sticks and dog poop, and now it's John and Adam's heads on sticks. We listen to the show together on our walks, and she likes to sing along to the Cheers theme meetup song coming up in just a moment, just for you. Sadly, says Dan Franco in New York City, I had to report due to last-minute cancellations, the New York City No Agenda meetup for Saturday, October 3rd was canceled. Nonetheless, I want to thank my wife, Jen, and sons, Nick and Matt, for helping prepare, and you, Adam and John, for promoting the event. Well, of course. Now we go to Deutschland for the second Deutsch Bag meetup.
In the morning, this is Tim the Enchanter at the Brews and Stogies meetup. We had to move to Hannenfass in Kaiserslautern. Had a great time. I'm going to pass it off to my buddy Lord.
In the morning, John and Adam and everyone else who's listening, I'm from Ireland. Just like to give a shout out, noagendameetups.com. Check it out, especially if you're not in the United States, because we all need to stick together.
Right on, man.
It's lashing rain here, but we all feel good. We're wearing our muzzles. Please play the mac and cheese live jingle.
Hey, in the morning, this is Cervantes, and I'm just happy to be here meeting some new Deutsch bags.
Former douchebag Ray. All I gotta say is Taputania Chao Chica Ching Ching. I only say
Dame Anonymous got us here, having a great time, just like last time. It's been a good time. Bye.
Hey, Adam and John, douchebag Michael here. Thank you for the great podcast and for bringing us all together.
I had a great time with really nice people. Also, a big shout out to all the producers for keeping the show going.
In the morning!
In the morning!
And that's one of my favorite reports of all time. You know, they said, hey, you know, especially if you're not in the U.S., we got to stick together. It's rough out here as well. That's the guy from Ireland. You can tell these people could fit right into the South Carolina, North Carolina meetup.
Of course they could.
It's fantastic. I just love that. You're all
I think
the
it's
same
somewhat
people.
worse over there than it is here.
Sounds like it, yeah. But I have to say their venue sounded great. Like the
venues are fabulous.
Like a warm, smelly kind of beer, beer kind of thing going on. I could almost smell it in that report.
Mac and Cheese Life. Mac and Cheese by Ayn Rand.
Off to Minnesota Nuts.
Reporting live from the still smoldering rebels in Minneapolis on October 3rd. We have a small amygdala meetup here in Minneapolis. This is Jake from Minneapolis reporting live.
In the morning, gents. This is Chester from Minneapolis. Wrong end. Oh, no.
This is Alex from Burnsville in the morning.
This is Ben from Elko in the morning.
Mary from Minneapolis in the morning. It's April from Minneapolis. I'm not triggered, but John, it's Shakopee.
And this is Christopher. I'm still a douchebag.
1, 2, 3.
In the morning!
She's not triggered, but it's Shakopee. Do you even know is that a place name that we've messed up?
It's a town, I keep calling Shakopee.
Oh, Shakopee. Well, we'll remember for the next time. Right next to
maybe
next to No Notch or whatever it was called. No Notch. Great reports, guys. Thank you very much. NoAgendaMeetups.com. And I love the audio reports, half a minute to a minute. You know, if you got a big meetup, you do what you can. Here's what's coming up. Last minute scheduled today, local Oregon 33 at 3:33 p.m. So that is very last minute. Again, today, October 4th, Oregon Local 33. The farewell to Sir Craig Porter, the Ronin, moving to greener, sunnier pastures meetup. Is that today? That is the one today.
I don't know.
So did he pass away? This sounds horrible. No, he must be leaving. I don't have enough context here, back office. He created Group 33 when there wasn't a group in Oregon. This is an outdoor meetup at the Willamette Park in Westland. Bring a chair and meet near the Riverside parking lot, parking on the Volpe. It's where okay. I don't know what this is. I hope he's not dead. Sounds like a fun meetup regardless. Coming up on Wednesday, St. Pete Beach in Florida, 11 in the morning. Keep that in mind. On Friday, the Zurich Sanity meetup, 6 o'clock, Central European summertime. On Friday as well, the Southern Chilenoisian meetup, 6 o'clock. This coming Saturday, Okie Town South Side, 2 o'clock Central Time. The No Agenda Local 512 F. Austin October meetup. Ooh, where's that taking place? I usually do work. Willie's Joint Bar and Grill in Buda, Texas. Sir Scott. Okay, that if I can make it, that's a good one. Then we have also on Saturday, Nashville, the COVID reopening phase 33 to be announced. Rich B is doing that. Good. We have the Dortmund meetup. Dortmund on, that'll be next Sunday. Thomas needs input, so go to noagendameetups.com and help him out. And then we have I'm kicking myself, I should have mentioned it Thursday. The Keeper and I will be in Vegas. We'll be at the Sands performing. We'll be part of the meetup that is taking place, is being organized by Dame Angela. And, of course, the Shill and his entire family will be there. Patrick Coble is coming in and is also working on organizing. We're not going to list a venue. You need to RSVP to get the secret text message because Vegas still is kind of on the shutdown. So we have some friendly people who do want to help us, but we can't be put that on the website. And the Keeper, and the Keeper is the big draw. Did you know this?
Yeah, you said this on the last show that everyone wants to meet her.
Yeah, it's like everyone's...
Well, why don't you just stay home? She'll have a lot more fun without you there.
October 13th in Las Vegas, Nevada. That's it for your No Agenda meetups. Please go check them out at noagendameetups.com. Or if there isn't one near you, here's a thought. Why don't you start one? Go over there, noagendameetups.com. It's like a party.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the nights and days. You want to be where
be triggered or held to blame. You wanna be where everybody feels the same. It's like a party.
Hey, man, the crap is hitting the wall over at Spotify. You hear what happened?
No, you may as well keep us up or keep review what's going on.
So before Rogan, their big hot deal was the Michelle Obama podcast. And they
that's a winner.
Well, exactly. So they announced I think it was Friday. It was a great Friday news announcement. They're now going to release it to other platforms as well, meaning it showed up everywhere. Apple Podcasts, it showed up.
The Michelle?
The Michelle Obama podcast. It showed
What's
up.
It called?
It's called the Michelle Obama podcast.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, then it's on Podbean.
Well, wait, no. But here's the problem. They launched with Procter & Gamble, 2 products, Tide and Dawn. And from what I understand, they couldn't fulfill the order. That's why they had to shoot this thing out to everything, even to competitors. I think they're trying to get it on Stitcher. And
oh, you mean they didn't? Well, let's go explain. Couldn't fulfill the order.
Well, they had so the Obamas have, just like Netflix, they have a production deal, whatever that means. It's just like a big ass retainer. And you get that money, and you got to do something. And it seems like Michelle's the one that does the most. She does the books, she does the tours, and she does the podcast. You know, I don't know if Barack is doing anything at all. So, so of course they paid her. I don't know. I have no idea, but I'm sure it's in the millions.
A lot.
Yeah, as a part of an overall 360 deal. So they, to offset that, of course, the same they'll do with Joe is they put in ads, and they launched with 2 Procter & Gamble. Tide, hello, you know what market they're going for. That's for the black people who will listen. And then Dawn for the white people. I mean, they might as well say white and black soap. So I don't know if both soaps are failing, but they're not getting enough views for the amount of money that this launch sponsor spent. And I understand it's really bad. So for them to release it in general release after this so-called exclusive. Now, there's something to be said for, we'll lock it up for premium for a while. But I smell smoke.
You smell a flop.
I do. I smell a flop. Big flop. A big flop. And it's...
Well, I don't have any, like, for example, I'm trying to keep up with everything going on this for the show.
Mm-hmm.
I've had no, now I might, but I've had, now that it's a flop, but I've had no inclination to even see what the hell she's got to talk about. It's none, zero.
It's a incredibly unimpressive, mediocre product. It's just not interesting. Of course I've tried to listen. It's not interesting at all. At all. But beyond that, that doesn't matter. If you're a network, and remember, I ran one of these, Spotify, so we'll see how you do. If you're a network, it's not, oh, well, Michelle Obama's no good. You network with your algorithms and your targeting, you should be able to deliver the audience. They are selling their audience. They are buying people to talk to their audience. Their audience is just not there. They don't have the numbers yet, if at all, for podcasting. They can't convert or whatever. It's not working.
This was a dumb idea from the get-go.
It's not.
It was probably all triggered by the same SJW people working at the company out in New York, which is, where all those deals are done for the Obamas and whoever. And they didn't like, they thought it was going to be a great thing because we can promote Michelle and her future and she's going to be president someday. And so they pushed this through, and now it's a big bomb. And these are the same people trying to get Rogan off the air. They're trying to sink the company. Somebody, Hatchetman, better get in there.
Well,
we could do it. Hire us. We'll be firing people left and right.
So this is going to be such a topic for management school in the future, is how to deal with this. Max Kaiser brought that up. I guess is it the...
What did he have to say?
Well, he said the Coinbase CEO said, we're basically a bank. We're trying to make money. We don't give a crap about your social issues. F off. And he thought that was good. I said, yeah, of course it's good. It's just go away. but people are afraid. So, the Daniel Eck.
Well, the people that are afraid are going to eat it.
Well, Daniel Eck is not afraid, the
You have
CEO,
to-
that's for sure. That guy's not afraid.
If you're not afraid, you'll be fine.
One other thing from the last show that I didn't get to bring over, but someone sent this to me. I just thought it was so great because we're all talking about Roe v. Wade and notorious RBG, or as Kamala would say, BIG. And this is from the Philadelphia Intelligencer, and there's actually a scan of the article from the newspaper. And it's not even that old. It's from 2009. 2009. So this is only 11 years ago. And it opens with this quote from Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Frankly, and this is about Roe versus Wade. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Frankly, I had thought that at the time Roe was decided, there was concern about population growth, and particularly growth in populations that we don't want to have too many of. She spoke bluntly in an interview published in the New York Times Magazine, which was an article on women on the court. So it was not simply women's right agenda, it was about eugenics. She thought there was concern about the population, and in particular growth in populations we don't want to have too many of.
Yeah, this has been going on. This is the 70s thinking.
But this is 2009, this racist.
Yeah, well, she's an old woman. She's from the 70s.
But that's crazy.
They're still thinking this way. They want to, and Africa's the number one target. And we heard that little clip nobody's talking about a couple of shows ago where they said that by 2050, half the world is going to be African.
And then, something that we've talked about on this show for years, for at least a decade. Finally, we were right, of course, but now it's admitted, and it's just like, never mind. We just took that here.
Planned Parenthood of Greater New York is removing the name of Margaret Sanger, a founder of the national organization, from its Manhattan clinic. The abortion provider says it made the decision because of Sanger's, quote, harmful connections to the eugenics movement. Pro-lifers are responding. In a statement, Susan B. Anthony List says, quote, the next step for Planned Parenthood is recognizing that Margaret Sanger's racist legacy continues today, as abortion continues to disproportionately impact minority communities, especially the Black community. Joining me now on Skype to talk more about this is Dr. Angela Franks, author of the book Margaret Sanger's Eugenics Legacy and professor of theology at St. John's Seminary in Boston. Dr. Franks, welcome to the show. So glad to have you. Let's start right there with the legacy of Margaret Sanger. For people not familiar with the term eugenics, what exactly is it?
The eugenics movement divided people up into either the so-called fit or unfit based on their genetic health and capability. And Sanger completely bought into that movement. It really had its heyday between the 19-teens and really up through World War II. And she was an active part of that movement.
Yeah, for at least 10 years. I'd say that. So, Margaret Sanger was a eugenicist. It'd be, you're a conspiracy theorist. Shut up. It's not like that at all. It's not true. And
Who said that?
Oh, like everybody?
Well, a couple of things. I did a whole thing on Sanger and realized that I'm going to take the other side of this. She never was a eugenicist until it became a popular thing much later. She started her whole operation to try to legalize the use of prophylactics, rubbers.
She was on board with the rubber guys.
She was the rubber person. And so she made it, in fact, it was the Black community more than anybody else who embraced her. You can look up this history. It's not that hard to find. And the Black community embraced her because she was into not eugenics, but population control via birth control. She didn't think people should just be having babies when they don't want the babies.
That's right. And she got the reverends on board to go spread the message.
She got everybody on board, and they were doing fine. And then all of a sudden, when abortions came along, she was never for abortions, ever.
No, I know.
All this was like, but it's all, well, we got now, but the eugenicists came up during this era that then it became, Hitler adopted it. Hitler's group adopted this whole thing. It was an American invention.
No. Oh, really? I thought it was when the Operation Paperclip, when the guy came back here, that's when we really got into it.
No, we were into it way early, in the 20s. And it became, with lots of books were written, and this is when everything was erased. The Irish were erased, the Scots were erased, this was erased, that was erased.
Allow me to say that, boy, shame on those people for just throwing Margaret Sanger under the bus just because she's inconvenient right now.
Yeah.
Seeing as it's
That's
not
pretty
true.
much it.
Yeah, so I win either way.
No, you win it however you want to take it, because
I just want to win.
Pretty much, it was pretty obvious when this began, and this began some years ago, that this was going to continue till she was thrown under the bus, and it just never showed up in the conversation again. So we never could do any real, long analysis of it. But I can tell you, I read all this stuff. She was a good woman. Just telling you.
This is another T-shirt. Margaret Sanger. She was a good woman, John C. Dvorak. I think we have a winner.
It's just the way it goes, you just, it's the left eating itself is what it always amounts to.
Gotta love it. I just have one more thing I'd like to mention. Yeah. In the OTG category, because I like people to go look this up in the show notes. It's under OTG. And I'm not sure who publishes this. They did an analysis of apps and how much they communicate with some kind of tracking server on a daily basis. And they made a really colorful graph of it. And I'll just give you the name of the apps that track. And you can see, per day, we're looking at, just like thousands for Zoom, Reddit, Netflix, DoorDash, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Microsoft Teams, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Venmo, Spotify, Instagram, Amazon, WhatsApp, and those are the main ones.
This has got to be in the trillions the way you're listing them.
Well, they have 2020 every minute of the day. 41,666,667 pings are sent. Back from WhatsApp.
41 million a minute?
Yeah.
That adds up.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone, but it's crazy. It's crazy. You should just take a look at it. It's Data Never Sleeps is the title of it. It's well worth taking a look at. And I'm just kind of banking on you having a great end of show clip or something for us.
I don't have a great one, but I do have a reasonable one.
Okay.
Actually, I do. Maybe I do have a great one. Now let's play this one though. Why be good when you can be lousy? So apparently, Al Franken came out from under his cave, and he's the same old tit grabber he's always been, apparently. But he's got to say something about the Supreme Court. He's got to get his. He's back in his just liberal, progressive mode, making commentary that's just not right. This is the clip. This is Al Franken coming out of his hole, out of his basement.
Democrats win control of the Senate, that there should be more Supreme Court seats added. Do you agree with that?
I think we should very definitely look at that.
Definitely.
This will be, they will have stolen 2 seats.
Are you worried, though, about the potential Pandora's box of if you do start adding seats that if the Republicans then take over, they could do the same, and then we just have a bunch of extra Supreme Court justices, which makes that body even more political than it already is?
The problem is that if you trace this back, it goes really back to Mitch McConnell in 2009 saying, my goal is to make Barack Obama a one-term president.
What?
And then filibustering. He filibustered more executive appointees.
Have you noticed how old he looks, too?
He looks like crap.
He looks he does not look well.
Than had been filibustered in the entire history of the United States before that. Mitch McConnell is a cynical person who only seems to care about power. And at a certain point, you either have to respond in kind or just let them roll over you. And I think it's time that we respond.
Oh, brother. Projection much, Al Franken? Oh, man.
Now, let me ask a question, just a general question. Let's say that you took over the place. You got the Democrats. I don't know how this could possibly happen, but let's say they took the House, the Senate, and the presidency. So they could do whatever they wanted. And so they added 2 or 3 more Supreme Court. They packed the courts.
Mm-hmm.
And then the idea is, well, then the Republicans take over and then they pack the courts. I think they end up with 100 people in the Supreme Court. It'd be terrible. But is there any way you could, like, drop it back? Can you, like, after Ginsburg died, could you say we're going to have only 8 justices and then somebody else dies, we'll only have 7? Can you go the other way? Has anyone ever thought about that? No one ever talks about it.
I think you could. It's just, who do you kill?
Can you do it while they're still there?
Well, you can kill them. It's lifetime appointments.
Well,
so,
besides, let's just assume they're not going to kill them.
Well, then why are you even in government if you're not willing to kill somebody? Let's be honest about it. Let's be honest.
I don't know if I could top that one.
Okay.
You win.
Can we just leave it for what it is then?
Yeah, I think you got it. You nailed it.
All right, everybody. We look forward to seeing you again on Thursday. Please remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. End of show mix is finally that Chris Wilson A is for Amygdala end of show mix. We got it for you along with Tom Starkweather, and can't do a show without Jesse Coy Nelson reviewing the latest, which will be probably some debate related stuff. He's always good at that. Remember, noagendameetups.com and the Vegas October 13th. If you want to come, all are welcome. There are hotels open. The deals are great. It's basically free. Pay the resort fee. And coming to you from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the capital of the Drone Star State, Austin, Texas. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from Northern Silicon Valley, I'm John C. Dvorak.
And we return on Thursday right here on another episode of No Agenda. Stay tuned on the stream, noagendastream.com, for the 50th episode of Mo Facts with Adam Curry. Until Thursday, adios, mofos! And such.
In the morning. This is Sir Chris, the Drunkard Minstrel, here in the studio at Kylie the Keeper's Corner Shop Cocktail Lounge and Karaoke Bar, and I'm reading my first ever No Agenda children's book, A is for Amygdala. And this is a book that I regularly read to our human resource, Sir Felix.
No, you don't.
And now I'm going to read it for the world. Gitmo Nation Publications present A is for Amygdala, a No Agenda book of ABCs, read by Sir Chris Wilson. A is for Amygdala, which you don't want to swell. From all the bad news, it will make you unwell. A is for artwork that makes Adam proud. A is for aircraft, where pets aren't allowed. B is the dimension you don't want to be, full of bigotry and bias and run by bullies. B is for Bingit and blockchain and the bottom, and the bug that breaks Bitcoin will make it worth nothing. C is for Clinton, for Comey and collusion with the CIA runs CBS to cause us confusion, and CNN, ABC and CNBC push climate change and sell crap to you and to me. D is for the dames and the dukes of our nation, so don't be a douchebag and make a donation. E is for exciting stories by John about trains and emotional support animals that travel on planes. F is for face bag, fake news and feminists who flail their fists in the faces of fascists. F is for false flags and for FISA warrants, and the way they were obtained was completely abhorrent. G is for Gitmo, where we live ever after, so give to our show to get some goat karma. H is for ham radio, for boys and for girls. When the apocalypse comes, they'll be saving the world. H is for hate and for Hillary hysteria. And if you're not with her, you're literally Hitler. I is for Ivanka, who's just out of reach. It's President Trump they want to impeach. I is for ISIS, funded by CIA. But since Trump got in, they've all run away. J is for John, always ready with a joke. And J is for jingle, Adam plays for us folk. K is for night, and K is for karma, that keeps our head straight and away from the drama. L is for Langley, who love lots of long wars, as do Lockheed Martin, with sails for shore. L is for a night layaway plan, with a little each month. You know that you can. M's for Maxine's meme, Impeach 45, as the M5M tried to keep Me Too alive, and fill millennials' heads with bias and hate as they try to stop Trump's Make America Great. N is for Nazi and network fake news and the non sequitur that they use to confuse. But lucky we have our No Agenda show to nobble their nefarious plans for Gitmo. O is for oil that flows in pipelines. O is for Obama, we thank all the time. P is for petroleum and plotting with Putin. And if you follow the pipelines, you'll see where they're shooting. P is for podcast produced for you and me. So pay up through PayPal to prevent poverty. Q is for queer and questioning queens. But with so many genders, it's not as it seems. R is for Russia and the radical left, which were one and the same before Gorbachev left. S is for science and self-driving cars and stories of sending humans to Mars. S is for streaming and searching show notes, for silly Al Sharpton and cute service goats. T is for Trump and those tormenting trolls who never give up, though their memes do grow old. U is for university and universal health care that's really a scam and clearly not fair. V is for value that's true. And thank you to Adam for watching The View. W is for whipsaw and privilege that's white. And wonderful books that John's going to write. X is for Z and for Zem and for Zay, for people who insist we address them that way. Y is for yes we can, or is it thank you Satan, and yelling at stuff won't fix Gitmo Nation. Z is for Zephyr that goes by John's window. He tells us each time at the start of our show. But sadly our alphabet ends with a Z, 26 letters and not 33. It's the end of our book and your amygdala's well nourished. So I say in the morning, and thank you for your courage.
Woo, woo! Finally out of quarantine, time for a road trip, buckle up, partner!
For the record, I decided the topics, no booze or other interruptions, so we, and more importantly you, can focus on what the candidates have to say.
Somehow we're in the car with these people. Where are we going?
We got a lot to unpack here, gentlemen. We got a lot of time, so...
Suburbs are by and large integrated. There's many people today driving their kids to soccer practice and or to black and white and Hispanic in the same car as there have been any time in the past.
Hey, at what point do we turn on K Street?
You just lost the left.
It's getting dark out here. What was that we ran over?
Down here, all you had to do is turn on the lights and you pick up a lot.
And
Schumer,
by the way, Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, they have a plan.
I gotta pee.
You've got to provide these businesses the ability to have the money to be able to reopen with the PPE.
Gentlemen, I hate to raise my voice, but it seems to me, why shouldn't I be different than the two of you? So here's the deal.
Good point.
Okay, who farted?
China ate your lunch, Joe.
There was no suburb unless he took a wrong turn.
Oh, I know suburbs.
I was raised in the suburbs.
I rolled down the window. It's stinky.
I mean, I have a mask right here. I put a mask on it when I think I need it.
It is what it is because you...
Chad, let me shut you down for a second, Chad, just for 1 second.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe? Who's on your list?
Gentlemen, I think
this is so unprecedented.
Pack the court.
We have ended this segment. We're going to move on to the second segment.
Hey, can I get some gas money?
Well, first of all, thank you for doing this.
He made a statement about the military. He said I said something about the military. He and his friends made it up, and then they went with it. I never said it.
Okay.
That is
what
not
he
true.
did is
You're
he
done in
said
this segment.
he called the military stupid bastards.
I
did not say
on
tape. He said stupid bastards.
Please,
He
sir,
said it.
stop.
I would never say that.
Play
to the
it. Play it.
Go ahead.
Just clap for that, you stupid bastard. 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 You stupid bastard.
I did
said it on tape.
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 You stupid bastard. You stupid bastard. You stupid bastard. I have incredibly good judgment. 1, I married Jill. And 2, I appointed Johnson to the Academy. I just want you to know that. Just clap for that, you stupid bastard.
I did
said it on tape.
Play it.
Go ahead.
The best podcast in the universe.
Audio. mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Dumb and sick.